live.
We live?
We live.
Live, baby.
What's y'all? It's the Is What It Is show coming to you live at 7:30 on a Thursday night while we watch this NFL network. People out there in all the social media land. Y'all know what I always say. Let's touch, hug, love, sucker free. Most of all, don't hurt nobody. It's the It Is What It Is show. And who am I? I'm the one and only. I'm the Rev. And we coming to you with that boy Bubba Love, who gonna do the hosting tonight. After Bubba Love, we gonna have TJ Harris. What TJ Harris get up in there? No, y'all can't forget about B-Dub. And hey, man, we got a special guest tonight. He gonna tell us about the highs, the lows, the hills, the valleys, the yes, the no's. So people, we so glad y'all joined in with us tonight, because it's gonna be a Mardi Gras and a Gaelic affair all wrapped up in what? Bub, take this thing over right now.
What's happening, everybody? I feel like we got to bring Marvin Gaye or somebody on here with us, the way that introduction he just gave us. So yes. Everybody good? T, you good?
Good, baby.
Bruce, you good?
Oh, yes, sir.
Appreciate it, Rev. But nevertheless, before we get started, we always open with a word of prayer to make sure we're honoring the King of all kings and the Lord of all lords. Let's bow your head for a second so we can do a word of prayer. Heavenly Father, just once again, thank you for allowing us to be here, allowing us to be able to have our truth, to show you your truth, Heavenly Father. Lord, we just want to give you all the honor, all the praise. Lord, we want to do something, say something tonight to where we heard or said or done, to where we can enlighten you in things that we do and things we say. Lord, we just want to lift you up in all that we do and all that we say. Lord, we just give you a thank you for the praise report for in this story on today with Curtis, and just thank you for allowing his father to be reunited back to his family, Heavenly Father. We just thank you once again for all that you're doing and all that you've done for us. In Jesus' name we pray. All right. Amen. TJ, you got it, man. You got it.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to episode number 3. It Is What It Is podcast. Fellas, what's good, man? What's been shaking since we last got together?
Man,
the trees, the car keys, and the leaves. That's what's been shaking.
Oh, yeah.
Got that.
Some of everything.
Everything.
Hey, I want to shout out to all our fans, everybody hanging in there. Want to give y'all a heads up, man. We got it scrolling at the bottom of the screen. Welcome to our podcast, but also we want you to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Please do us that favor. We really appreciate that. Plus, once you subscribe, then it's easy to find us. Once you go on to YouTube, anything that you're a subscriber of will automatically pop up live. We're trying something out new tonight. Kind of doing the Zoom setup, continuing to try to focus on practicing the social distancing. So hang in there with us for the next couple of hours. Good conversation, talking about old times. We got a very special guest that I'm about to introduce here in a moment. Checking out the football game tonight, live on NFL Network. You got the Denver Broncos and the New York Jets. We're going to touch on that amongst many other topics. But as I just mentioned, special guest tonight. We appreciate everybody tuning in the last show. We had a great special guest that was somebody that was near and dear to our heart, but we've done that once again tonight. This individual that we are about to bring in, man, we've been knowing since we were very young age. I've been knowing basically my entire life. We've grown from young boys to young men to grown men, been through everything. We're going to tell a lot of those stories and everything tonight, and he's going to give his perspective on not only, what happened during those adolescent years, through those high school years, his collegiate years, as well as just what's happening now. And this young man, outstanding person, outstanding human being. Not only he's my peer, we're the same age, but also a mentor to me throughout my life. great individual, outstanding athlete. 1994 Houston Defensive Player of the Year for high school football. This young man attended Baylor University from 1995 to 2000. During his time at Baylor University, started at safety for 3 years. Was a Southwest Conference all academic. On and off the field, just showing you his accolades and what he was able to do in the classroom. Just want to welcome him in tonight, everybody, man. Actually, live on location, we have him actually attending his son's football game, who now is playing football for Humble High School, representing the high school that we all went to. I want to give a shout out to my man, my homeboy, Curtis Henderson. Welcome in, bro.
Boy, Kurt.
What's up, baby?
Man, hey, man, I appreciate that introduction, man. I need to take you on the road with me, man.
Right. No doubt.
Take you on the road, man. You got me feeling like a superstar, man.
What's up with
How
you?
y'all doing tonight, man? Everybody doing good?
Doing well.
Oh yeah, man.
Appreciate
doing
you
even better.
Cool, man.
Doing much better with
No,
that
man, I
news
appreciate,
that we got
appreciate y'all
2
having me
days ago.
on, man. Appreciate y'all having me on.
Oh no, without a doubt, man. Without a doubt.
So, man, we want to get to it. One while we thought that tonight was going to be a hell of a tearjerker, and tonight is going to end up being a celebration.
Exactly.
And we just gonna. I was beforehand. I was gonna leave it to maybe the middle part of the show or a latter segment, but I want to attack the elephant in the room. It's a blessing. Thank God your father was found. Just want to give us and the fans out there kind of an update on how's your father doing, and give us the backstory if you can, a high level overview of what actually happened.
Okay, man. Well, man, first of all, like I said, I appreciate y'all allowing me to come on y'all's platform, man. Can y'all hear me pretty good?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Can y'all hear me well?
Yeah, you good.
We can. You're good.
Okay, cool. Well, man, my dad, my dad getting up there in age, man. Y'all, a lot of y'all guys have already been through it, man. And y'all know what stage in life we in, man. We've all known each other's parents and everything for a long time, but my dad actually had evidently had passed out in the street. And what happened was that a police officer had taken him to Bentab. So in the process of him going to the hospital, his phone was out and everything, and they did surgery on him. But the problem was we were calling all the hospitals because we had lost contact, and they were telling us that they didn't have no record of him even being there. So, that's a really scary feeling to be that close to your parents or your loved ones, and you can't really get any real answers. We filed the official missing person, and that still wasn't pulling up any of the interactions with the authorities. So it was really a scary situation, man. It kind of puts a lot of things in perspective as to how people can be lost really around the country, man. So it's ultimately, man, we had some a couple of people at the hospital that very resilient, man, and a security officer that kept looking and ultimately got us some clues, and turns out my dad was at a facility that was maybe 7 miles from my brother's house in Cyprus. And there, I could tell you, man, if they hadn't have told us that my dad was there, we would have never found him. We would have never found him in that location.
Wow.
So how's he doing? I think I saw videos that
he's good, man. He's good. He's good, man. He's in real good spirits, man. My dad's a real positive person. Anyway, crazy is all I do. But man, he's in good spirits, man. He's in a good location. He called me tonight. Matter of fact, when I went up there, he was telling them, "Hey, y'all, I'm gonna see y'all later, man. I'm finna roll with my son." I'm like, "Man, you can't go nowhere, man. We gotta make sure you get yourself healthy, man, and then we're gonna get you back rocking and rolling."
Yeah.
Already, man. Good stuff, man. Again, blessing, man. I was really proud to see the support that you all had during that time, man. And I know all of us here from the Is What It Is crew, we were all praying. We had discussions. We prayed together. We're so glad that everything turned out fine, man. And it's a blessing to be able to have this discussion in a positive manner with you tonight.
Yeah, man, it was, like I say, man, it was good to just get the support of, everybody, man, and I mean, being on here, man, it's like, y'all my brothers, man, I'm gonna tell y'all something, man, and it's just the real of it, man. Me and my brother,
Damn.
you know what I'm saying?
He coming back
And the
in. He coming back.
reality of it, man, you guys, man, I've been I'm gonna call it jealous admiration, and you know what I'm saying, meaning, I've always admired how all you guys have hung together for so long, man. Y'all, Michael, I know y'all, we missing Ian in the clique right now, you know, and you guys have always hung together, man. And I've always had jealous admiration, man. Meaning, I wish that, at some point that our time just gave me more time to be with you guys, and I've always admired how each of you have always stuck together, supported each other, man. And I love you guys, man. And that's, that's real talk for me.
Right back at you, Kurt.
Yeah,
Likewise.
Likewise.
Love you too, man.
Likewise.
I think it's the perfect segue for my next question. It's very similar to when we were discussing with Ian a couple months back. We all started off, man, even before Northbelt, La Petite Academy, with being the few African Americans actually in the community at that time. When you think about Audubon Forest, what does that mean to you?
Man, to me, the craziest thing about Audubon, man, is that Audubon, in my opinion, was exactly what everybody said.
I think we're having a few technical difficulties, folks. Hang in there with us.
Yeah, he's out of
Kurt back online.
Yeah, he got that rigor mortis in it.
And it's set in.
Locked up. Locked up. We need some pickle juice.
Yes.
Yeah, freeze frame.
So TJ,
Bobby, stop. Pose for the frame.
Right. So T, and you asking that question. Oh, go ahead, Kurt. You got it. You back.
Yeah,
Go ahead, Kurt.
I was just saying, man, with everybody in the community, man, with Hal Ho and his family, the Martins, our family, it was really, what people envision or say that the world should be. That's the way that it really was. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
And the sad thing is that at some point when you get, when you growing up, at some point in there, I guess when you probably get to middle school or high school, then the different separations, happen for whatever reasons. We all start living our different various lives. But I mean, we literally grew up together, man, in the same house. You had Clint Cook and his family right around the corner from y'all, man. Michael right around the corner. The Martins right up the street. You know what I'm saying? Hal right around the corner. It's crazy, man. So
yeah. I always think it's a blessing, man. When I think about just us on this call, it's just a blessing and it's different that we have a foundation that goes back so far. And
oh man, ain't no doubt.
One of the purposes of this podcast that Micah and Bruce and I really wanted to touch on is, man, do you know how much talent? And when I say talent, a lot of times when people think of talent, especially in the African American community, they think of talent from just a sports standpoint or athletics. But there's so much talent that has just come out of our community, just well-rounded talent. And so many successful people that come within a 2-3 mile radius, and people that I really look up to, man. And like I said, you're we're peers. But everyone on this podcast right now is a mentor to me. Like whenever I'm going through something, I have people that I can reach out to and can get credible advice. And so, we wanted to highlight that, and it's all a part of, giving you your roses while you're still here. And you mean a lot to us. So,
Likewise, man, it's funny, man, till you say, because you and me always been the same age, but I guess because you were so much smaller than all us, it was like little bro, even though we the same age, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. But I remember when when we worked at KB Home together, you came over there, we worked together, then you turned around and got into your insurance business, and when I started my flyer business, you was one of my first customers, and then then your insurance company grew, and you had a real successful career. So it's always great to see everybody's growth. You know what I'm saying? So it's pretty cool, man. But like you say, a lot of times, we only celebrate the athletic aspect of our lives, as opposed to our accomplishments off the field as well and in the community.
So we touched on your father before. It's only right to not touch on moms and how she doing, and then also first two-part question. First, what does your mother mean to you, and then second, your siblings. I know your siblings play a very important role in your life, and just kind of explain to us what they mean to you.
Say it again. Your phone when I couldn't hear you. Say it again, bro.
No worries. So, first off, your mother. What does your mother mean to you? And then second of all, I know your siblings play a very important role in your life. What do they mean to you as well?
I think you said my parents, man, but it's crazy because my folks have always been my support network. It's crazy because I've known all of y'all's parents the same way. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And like my mom has always been, real supportive. My dad has always given us that never give up attitude, and that's really where we get our, positive outlook on everything, man. And so I really can't say enough about, but it's crazy because hell, Michael's dad was one of my first coaches, you know what I'm saying? Hey, your mom was always, always around, man, at all the events we had going on, you know what I'm saying? I'd run over to Bruce's house to get my hair cut, man. Central used to edge me up with the razor and everything, man. That's really how I learned to put the stuff on my forehead to keep my head from bumping up whenever I was getting. And so it's like, all of the seeds that our parents have planted into each and every one of us. We've all been able to eat off that same tree. So that it's like I said, it's a perfect example of what a community really should be.
So in other words, it takes a village.
Right.
It takes a village.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, we definitely have to grow with, and I can literally say we all are like brothers around here. It's like even on our first podcast, we were talking about the Father's Day podcast, to where we mentioned everybody's father. And like Mr. Henderson was absolutely in their list. We named also one of those fathers that was within the neighborhood. But one thing I want to ask you, Curtis, in knowing your father, because we're all about the same age, so our parents are around the same age also. And going forward, like if you were to how would you say your father had dementia, or how would you safeguard that before this happened, and how would you safeguard it now going forward? Like, what special parameters are you gonna do like for your father now going forward? Or what would you have done before? Because I don't know like how long he was missing, or was it normal for him to go on his own somewhere before? Kurt, are you on mute?
Man, I think after tonight I'm gonna have to get off of Metro PCS, man. Y'all going hard. I can't hear what y'all saying, man.
No, that's all good. So what was it for your father? Was it normal for him to be by himself all the time before he went to the hospital, or before this incident was?
Yeah, man. I think I caught what you're saying about my dad being by himself. But yeah, he had a friend that was always with him. You know what I'm saying? But we might, dad live his own life. We might go a week or two without talking. But see, we got to about that third week. I was like, man, it's been a minute since I heard from dad. And when it got to that fourth week, I'm like, man, something ain't right. You know what I'm saying? But then I checked his.
Bear with us, y'all. We got. Curtis is remote from the game and having a few network connections, but we're going to hang in there with him.
My bad, y'all. I checked his messages, and when I checked his messages, his greeting had changed, so I knew he was straight. You feel what I'm saying?
Okay.
But I still was like, man, I ain't heard from him, so that was kind of alarming. So when we hit that fourth week, I'm like, man, something ain't right. I just felt it in my spirit that something wasn't right.
Yeah. Okay. Because like I was saying before, all of our parents are getting older to where if the Lord is blessing them with the right mind and sane, to even if we see that diminishing in their progression, such as their mental capacity or just diminishing on where they function. Like I
Yeah,
want to safeguard them and not have some incident happen to where they be one of those white amber alerts on the freeway that you see. So just trying to figure, I want to put some kind of process in order to know that they're safe in their environment going forward also. So it's just something that we all need to think about at the same time.
yeah. My dad, man, he's still very sharp, but you can, they getting up in age, man. So it's just that time where certain things, like I was asking him my phone numbers today, and he was, the numbers, but he was getting mine mixed up a little bit. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I was messing with him. I said, Dad, you got to keep saying these numbers, just like you did when you was teaching us these phone numbers. I still remember my first phone number. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But if you think about it, even with you having a young mind, now because of technology, you know how easy it is for you to forget phone numbers because you don't go through that process every day. So imagine when you get a little up in age, if you're not practicing and doing it all the time, at some point it all starts running together, become very blurry.
Yeah. Just something to think about going forward. I know I am. So I like to have learning lessons through everybody's life. So this is something I've learned from watching y'all go through that. So I know it wasn't easy, but it's still a blessing y'all found it.
Oh man, like I said, man, I can't tell you how happy, man. We was talking to my mom, and was talking about him losing a couple toes. But I said, man, I'll take that any day, man. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because I mean, just I really didn't know what to think, man. Just to be real about it, I really didn't know what to think, man. I didn't, I tell you, man, I was out to about 4, 5 o'clock in the morning every night, man. I'd be driving through the woods, man, and all kind of crazy areas, just kind of trying to track the direction that he might have gone. If I was thinking somebody may have tried to rob him, man. Just imagine being out at night, 4 o'clock in the morning, man, just walking into walking in areas, just trying to see if you smell any bodies or anything like that. Man. It was rough, man. It was real rough. So I'm thank you, man. And I feel for anybody that's going through that, man. It's a different world, man.
And that was going to be my question to you, man. How were you dealing with that mentally in that time frame that he was missing, and what kept you stable minded? Because all of us know it don't take much, man, when you in them type of situations to go off the deep end and start thinking and doing other things that could be really, really detrimental,
Yeah, I mean, for me, man, work kept me busy, but I just knew I had to hold it together for my brother and my sister. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so I know they depend on me a lot, man, and that was my whole thing, man. And I was like, it was tough, but I was like, I can't break down and let them down. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And but it was rough on me because at the end of the day, I was like, we all know this. Like if my dad was gonna call anybody, it was gonna be me. You know what I'm saying? For me not to get no call from him, that was just frightening for me, man. And like I said, I literally had to play every scenario, man. But the crazy part was, as soon as we started putting flyers out, like everybody that ever met my dad, whatever area he was in, they knew him. So it was like that's how I was like, I know he ain't been in this area, and everybody pretty much had the same recollection. They're like, man, I ain't seen Bishop in about 2 weeks.
Yeah.
So I was like, and I'm gonna tell you the most ironic thing, man, is that my brother has a song called Gray Skies. Let's go back and listen to the words of that song one day, whenever y'all get a chance. And it was ironic because me and my brother we 6 years apart, but we so much alike that it's almost scary, man. We like, even when we was younger, I was trying to bounce around 2 or 3 girlfriends or whatever. I would literally put him on one phone and let him talk to him while I go outside and talk to another, because we sound so much alike. And so the crazy part about it is like, we had been thinking about this same song at the same time, and one day I said, man, you need to do a new beat to this, and he's like, man, I already been doing it. And it was really a song where he was just talking about his inner struggle about at the time not being financially in a position to really help Dad the way that he wanted to. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so just truthfully, I know now because he's in a better place, he wanted to be able to do that. So that was something that was, was tough for us too. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah.
And I knew that, man. And I kept saying, I was glad that when we found him, he was the first one to actually get to see him. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because I knew how heavy that was weighing on him. You know what I mean?
But
It's just a tough thing when you go through something where somebody depending on you and you really want to be there, but you really can't do that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Carl got that middle child syndrome.
But
yeah, absolutely.
Let me tell you something. And we can make light of this now that we know the bishop is safe and sound.
Safe and sound, yeah.
Kurt gave you the politically correct answer, because when I was on the phone with him today, he told me he was ready to get on some people's ass.
Ain't no doubt, bro. Hey, listen, man. If it had been a whole nother week, bro, I'm gonna tell you how, man. Because I watch a lot of different shows, man, and I felt so bad because it was a cat that had seen him, and they called me as soon as they seen the flyer, and they was like one of the last people that seen him, and I was like, man, I'm sitting there thinking, you sure you just saw him? And else? And I'm telling you, man, it was finna get.
Super.
Y'all watch Power. It was about to be some power moves going on. And the funniest part about it is one night me and my brother was talking, and I was just telling him where my mind was at and what I had planned, and he said, we just laughed because he said, man, you just said exactly the same thing that I had already been preparing for.
Yeah.
And, that was without us talking. So, like I said, I'm just thankful because we would have been all the way in the wrong, man.
Well, I'm gonna say this, man. I thank God. I thank God wholeheartedly, man, because I'm gonna tell you, like I said earlier, I did not want to get the other side of that spectrum, man. I didn't want to get that.
Right.
I didn't want that because I know how that feels. You know what I'm saying? To lose your father. I know how that feels. Man, I'm telling you, homie, that's a rough one. That's a rough one.
And see the thing is, man, I know that you've been through it. I know T been through it, man. And Ian ain't on here. I remember when they pops passed, man, and all of them, man. I remember every one of them growing up. So it was like just crazy, man. But the craziest part for me was just like, not knowing whether it was going to be something natural that happened or somebody taking advantage of it, man. And that was hard on me, dog. I'm like, man, I promise, man. I hope nobody took advantage of my dad, bro, because I'm not taking that L, bro.
I can understand.
Taking that L.
I can understand, especially with the demographics that we dealing with right now.
Oh, that's crazy. It's crazy, man. I was not going to take that L, man.
Man, I definitely, to what kind of B-Dub alluded to, if we got some time, I definitely want to get your opinion on some of these other topics that we're going to discuss a little bit later.
Take your time. Do your thing, man.
One thing I wanted to go to, man, I've always admired you being a hard worker in the classroom, but also outside the classroom. And where I want to take it now is I want to take it to that pigskin and on the field. 2014, Houston Touchdown Club, Houston Chronicle Defensive Player of the Year. Tell me a little bit about, when we go to the football field. Tell me a little bit about something that you remember from any of the seasons that you played at Humble that was your best memory, and then tell me about your worst memory during that time.
Man, for me, man, probably. I guess one of my best memories, man, is just was one of my best was actually in a loss. Being in a game where we was down and coming back so close to where we could have won the game. For me, I've always remembered that in life. So it's like I just don't never feel like I should ever give up because I feel like as long as we got time on the clock, we got time to make something happen. You know what I'm saying?
Amen.
What's crazy, man, is I'll tell you something. I remember when Bruce came over from I think you came over from MacArthur, man, and you got to play that first game. And I remember them giving you the ball, And literally, man, it seemed like everybody, their mama tried to tackle him and couldn't tackle him. And I was like, man, this is crazy. But what's wild about it is, man, is that Coach Albert, God rest his soul now,
Yeah.
he was going to report you to UIL and everything else because he did not want you playing against them, man. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, you know, one of my worst memories, man, was was probably when I broke my leg. You know, that was a rough one for me. I broke my leg.
What season was that?
That was my junior year, man. I broke my leg against Nevis. Somebody fell on the back of my leg. No, you know what, man? I'm gonna tell you what was a harsh memory for me too was when we played North Shore because I got hurt in the first quarter. You know what I'm saying? And that was tough, you know, at the end, just for it to, have such a great season and to not be able to affect the ball game at the end, you know, that was kind of crazy too, man.
You know, I gotta give you this. You just seemed to break your leg when Dante Howard told you to take these 200 yards with you.
Right. Yeah, man. Q was a beast, man. Q was a beast. Q was a beast, man. That's my boy, man. I ain't talked to him in a while, man. But yeah, Q my boy, man.
So, man,
in fact, you know what's crazy, man? When I was younger, man, you know, my dad was kind of bullheaded, and I had actually moved in with Quincy and them. You know, Quincy and them. I went to live with them because like my senior year, my dad was upset with me about something, and he was trying to take my page, and I'm like, Dad, I can't let you take my page, man. I paid for this. No disrespect, but you know, I've been paying my own way since I was 12. I've always worked, and I'm like, I can't let you do that, you know. So it was like, you know, at that point, it was, you know, two men going at it, and I'm like, I'm not gonna argue. It should be disrespectful, and so I just left and moved out, and I actually went to stay with Quincy, man. I lived with Q, and a lot of people didn't know that, man. I was living with Q, and then after that, Kobe and their mama felt like I should be staying with them. They're like, boy, you know, you family, and you supposed to be here with us, and you know. So then I moved over there with Kobe and them and stayed with them, you know. And then finally, at some point, you know, my Miss Davis and them was like, you know, hey, it's time for you to, you know, everything gonna be all right, you know. It's time for you to, you know, go ahead and go back to the house. So, you know, all the pieces of that puzzle came back together too.
So something we never discussed is, you know, I know there was several schools around the country that was recruiting you coming out after our senior year. Tell me about some of the schools that were recruiting you, and ultimately what made you decide to go to school to Baylor.
Man, you know what's crazy, man? You know, in the recruiting process, you know, a lot of times when coaches that get on, you know, get out and recruit you earliest, you know, you kind of form a bond with them. And I tell you, what's crazy is that Arkansas was one of the first schools to recruit me. Had a coach named Coach Washburn, and man, I'm talking about he was on it, bro. And I was gonna go there, but when I met him, I said, "There's no way in hell I go to Arkansas," because he talked so bad about the players that he had already there. Wow. And when he talked so bad about them, I was like, "There's no way that I would go play for somebody that would talk that bad about."
Exactly. So you would have been no
guys that, you know, that bust their tail for him.
Exactly.
I said, if he talked that bad about them, I can't imagine what he said about me. Exactly. And that was the only reason he ended up being like the offensive line coach for the Tennessee Titans. And that was the only reason. That was the only reason I didn't even consider Arkansas. Because it was like my, you know, one of my first places that I was going to visit. Yeah. You know, the crazy part is, I did not want to go to Baylor. The only reason I went to Baylor is because I prayed about it, and that was my answer to my prayer was to go there. Like matter of fact, I prayed about it, and then my phone rang like 3 times. It was the first one was the Houston Chronicle, and then the second ring at that time was the Houston Post, and they were still trying to find out where I was going. So now I'm making the kids, and the third was Baylor, and I said, my mom had just wanted to go to school, and I had just said I was going to Rice. But when I took my visit to Rice, you know, I was going to study medicine. When I went on my recruiting visit, they had set up like 3 surgeries for me to sit in on when I went on my visit. When I went on my football visit to Rice, they said I had like 3 surgeries that I got to sit in on. And so when the third ring was Baylor, I said, I'm going to Baylor. So my mom, and I literally was crying about the decision because I did not want to go to Baylor. I prayed about it, and I said I was just going to trust God for whatever he wanted me to do. And the crazy part, my mom came back. I said, "Mom, I'm going to Baylor." She said, "I thought you were going to Rice." I said, "I thought I was." So that first call was Coach Slade, who was he was the defensive back coach at A&M. He ended up being the DB coach at Michigan. And I said, "Hey," he said, what you gonna do, baby?" I said, "Coach, I prayed about it and I'm going to Baylor." He said, "Well, Coach, can you pray again?"
Right. Yeah.
So let me ask you this. So you're us being, even though we grew up in Humble being 3 minutes away from Houston, so we all grew up urban kids. Transitioning from Humble, Houston to Waco, what was your first impression of Waco when you first got there?
Waco was a different place, man, but it was kind of similar almost. You know what I'm saying? We had a Wieners. I could see them little Wieners. A Dairy Queen. We had a Dairy Queen. It was small town. And the demographic was about the same because, at Humble, when we were there, it was majority white. You know what I'm saying? So when I left Humble and went to Baylor, it wasn't no real culture shock for me because that's what we had been around our whole lives. Now, for guys that were coming out the inner city in the Baylor, it was different for them. But for me, it was pretty much apples to apples. It wasn't really no different.
Did you have any challenges as far as like the classroom is concerned?
No, not really. But I'll tell you something that did happen, man. We was in school, man, and like I had an English paper, man, and so I let one of my partners copy off my English paper. So I had used an analogy about Karl Marx, and I spelled it M-A-R. I think I spelled it M-A-R-K-S, but Karl Marx is spelled M-A-R-X. Yeah. So he used my paper and copied it word for word. So I got called in about cheating on the paper. And I said, "Man, listen, I ain't doing no cheating on no paper." I said, they was like, "Well, you misspelled Karl Marx." And I said, "Man, we've been talking about this in my philosophy class. You can look at my schedule." And I said, "Man, come on, man, I ain't doing no cheating." And then, but the crazy part is, I'm not going to call the player's name, but one of my partners, he ended up going to the league as a receiver. But when I saw his writing, I said, "Hell, you didn't have a chance in hell." When I saw how you write,
right?
You know what I'm saying? It's like, ain't no way you could have turned in the paper that I turned in because his sentence structure, and that's the sad thing because as gifted as an athlete that he was, he really couldn't read. You know what I'm saying? I remember actually getting rid of a tutor that I had because she had offered to do my work for me. And I said, "Man, that's an insult. I don't need you to do my work. You might do that for the other guy, but I don't need you to do my work." So I got rid of her as a tutor. I said, "Man, I don't need you as a tutor." Yeah, that was to me, that was an insult,
Right.
My parents are, from academia, so, my parents college graduates and, master's degrees and doctorate degrees and everything like that. So, I wasn't always the best student because I was a little lazy at certain times, but for me, it was an insult for somebody to even insinuate that I would need them to do my work for me.
Yeah. Yeah.
So a lot of people, Baylor right now is a member of the Big 12 conference, but when you were in school, it was a part of the Southwest Conference. So when we say, as I introduced you, we talked about you being all Southwest Conference from an academic standpoint. What did it take to do that? And then what advice would you have for that athlete that's transitioning from high school to college on being not only gifted and talented on the field, but in the classroom as well?
Well, the crazy part about, I was in the Southwest Conference last year in my second year. We was the inaugural year for the Big 12. But academically, man, it was just a matter of really just making up in my mind. But see, I'm gonna tell you, when I was in middle school, and then going into high school, cats used to call me bookworm because when we would be riding the bus home, I would sit on the bus and do my homework on the way home. So they used to mess with me and call me bookworm when I would sit on the back of the bus because I was trying to get all my work done. So that was always my thing. I was like, I always wanted to be a doctor or an attorney or something like that, but really I wanted to be a doctor. And so it was just a matter of just staying focused on it, because my dad was the same way. Then my dad was in insurance and was in the Hall of Fame for insurance. So I was always around business structures all the time. You see what I'm saying? When I was maybe 5 or 6, I could recite the rule of 72 and break down different finances for people. When I went to La Petite, they at that time, Radio Shack was a computer, but I used to just sit around and type up all the computer programming while everybody was playing and watching cartoons. I was the only kid over in the computer thing typing up all the programs, because at that time they used to have a thick program books where you would sit there and type it up. So I would sit there and do all the coding, and this, I was young, and so that was that was kind of my thing. My dad was, and when I tell people this, they think I'm just making it up, but when I was 5 and 6, my dad was having me read Think and Grow Rich. That's heavy reading at a young age.
Yeah, I didn't read that until I became an adult.
Right. So that's what my dad was on. He was like, Think and Grow Rich, and had us reading it at a young age.
Well, real quick, one of our viewers on here that wants to give you a shout out to ask you what's cracking is Ian Chestnut. So Ian,
man, shout out to Ian, man. I tell you, man, I've always had a lot of admiration for Ian, man. Ian and James, they really like our extended family.
Yeah.
And man, I've always had the utmost love and respect, for his father, who passed away, and his mom, man. They were just, the epitome of excellence and class, and just, I loved them to death, man. And it was so crazy. I remember one time me and James got in a fight out on the bus. We got into it. We talking noise in the classroom. He says about my mom. I said about his mama. So it's on when we get off the bus, right? And so me and James getting a big fight out the bus, man. And what the hardest thing was when his mom and dad came over to the house, man. I just felt so bad, because I felt like I had let Mr. and Mrs. Chestnut down, man. And and that was the thing. We got in a fight. Now parents are coming to the house and be wanting to fight too. But when we got in a fight, they came over. Both of them came over. Their parents was hurt that we got in a fight. My parents were upset that we got in a fight, and they made us hug it out like right then, man. It's like, man, I felt bad, because James and they're my brothers, man. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So yeah, man. It's just a different world, man. We just live in a different world, man, and have a totally different respect and love, for each other. Now we jealous of each other. You know what I'm saying? As opposed to, it was just different, man.
Yep. So he mentioned friends that have become family, and it's all love.
Yeah. So I remember when James and Ian them lived on one end of the street, when they moved and went to another side, and you know what I'm saying? Like, but and my thing is, I've always been happy for people whenever they have. That's one thing I can honestly say, man, about me, man. I don't have a jealous bone in my body, man. I be happy for anybody with everything that they doing that's good in their life.
Absolutely.
Hey, Curtis, you remember when Ian and James had them little mopeds with them helmets on?
Oh yeah, man. Man, I thought that was the coolest thing I'd ever seen, man. I'm like, man, they riding, man. Now you seen the moped, boy, you laugh them off the street, man. But it's just funny, the stuff that they had. But yeah, James and Ian be riding down them mopeds with them long necks and everything. It's crazy, man.
Blower helmets.
Right.
Yeah, they was live.
So Kurt, I want to transition. We talked about the classroom, transition to the field as far as from a collegiate
Let me say this real quick, man.
Sure, go ahead.
You asked about what my advice to kids, man, is that, man, you just really got to be focused, man. The reality of it is that, if you really want to be successful, man, you don't have a lot of room to make mistakes. You can't afford to make the same mistakes that anybody else would make, because you have a small window of opportunity for whatever you're trying to accomplish. And so anything that you do outside of that throws you off. So you can't make the same mistake. See, the average person can go out and party all night, man, and go to class late. If I do that, man, I party, especially in today's age. Somebody takes a picture and they make a big deal about it. It turns into, now you're on social media and everything else. I tell my son on a daily basis, I say, son, you got to be a better man than I ever could have dreamed of being.
Right. Absolutely. Very good advice. Appreciate that info and transitioning back to the actual field. So we talked about the classroom and your success as far as being an academic all conference, but going to the field, a couple questions that I have there. First question is kind of a two-part question. While at Baylor, when you think about all of the players that you play with and all of your teammates, give me who was your best teammate. And then second part to that question is, when you played against your opponents, what was the best or let's say the most talented player that you've ever either witnessed or played against during your time at Baylor?
It's a great question, but I heard you say something about playing with somebody, but I couldn't hear the rest of it.
So who was your favorite or best teammate that you played with while at Baylor?
Oh man, I had a few guys I had a lot of respect for, man. Like as far as just playing ability, man, one of the best guys that ever played.
You giving me a few? Give me one.
Was probably Gerard Douglas, man. He was super talented, man. And he was just smaller than everybody, but he was like really, really before his time. You know, he would have been like Dante Hall as a kick return.
Mm-hmm. So Gerard Douglas, for those that don't know, at that time was an all-state running back coming out of Converse Judson. B-Dub, and you could confirm this or not. I want to say maybe won a couple state titles while he was at Converse Judson as well.
I want to say
yeah, man. He would have been. Gerard was a hell of a kick returner, man.
Yeah, he played for three though.
And then another guy I played with was Clarence Cruz. He was like, he had won state as a quarterback at Eisenhower, man. Both of them guys was roommates, man, but they was great guys. Inside Elijah. They just tried to throw it on him, man. He just broke another pass up. I told him he gotta pick them.
Hey, real quick before we get to the next part of the interview, what's the score out there? Give us an update.
Right now, Humble up 21-14.
And we're playing against who?
Get on the ball.
And who is Humble playing against, and where are we playing?
Side Springs.
Side Springs.
Side Springs, man. We are 24.
We're out there at Berry Stadium tonight.
Yeah, we are 21-14, and they just a while ago they tried to do a punt, and my son threw somebody up under the bench. Just letting you know we ain't playing over here.
Yeah.
Second part to that question. Talk to me about the best athlete that you played against for one of the opponents while you were in college.
Hey man, I played against a bunch of them, man. I played against Woodson. You know, when he won the Heisman, he was, man, that joker there was the truth, man.
Michigan.
Yeah, man, shoot. When we played them, man, every time he came in the game, they was going to him. And every time they went to him, he made the play. So he was a beast, man. That joker there was the truth, man. And I played against Ricky Williams, man. I remember playing against Ricky, and we was beating Texas, man. We actually beat them, but we was beating Texas, man. And they said, shoot, we're going to give him the ball the whole way down the field. And they handed him the ball like 11 straight times all the way down the field. And, you know what I'm saying? Ricky was the truth, man. Ricky was the truth. Byron Hansball was a beast, you know. I played against Edrin James. Hell, I played against Tom Brady when he was at Michigan.
Okay.
You know? I didn't know he was going to be that, a hell of a player like that. But, got a chance to play against Tom Brady. Matter of fact, Tom Brady and Woodson was on the same team.
Man, I got a story, man. You may not remember this, but my freshman year at Southern, you were a freshman at Baylor. And you called me. It may have been about 11 o'clock at night. And I was in Baton Rouge. I was able to watch your game that afternoon. And let me just say this. It didn't end up being a good day for Baylor University football. But you called me and you said, man, we played against this guy. And he had about 21 tackles. And about 13 of those tackles were solos. A couple fumble recoveries and a couple sacks. And you say, man, I ain't never, ever seen anything like this. This dude sideline to sideline was killing us. And you were fortunate enough to watch him because you played defense and he was going against your offense. And the guy that you were playing against was, Ray Lewis is who he became.
Oh, my God, bro.
At the University of Miami your freshman year.
He jumped off. Dropped him off. He'll be back in a second.
He'll be back in a second, everybody. Hey, matter of fact, just see the bottom of our screen. Subscribe to the Is What It Is podcast on YouTube. It is what it is with the proper spaces and all caps. please do that for us. It'll help you out as well. So if you're trying to find us and you're reaching out to B-Dub or you're reaching out to Buddy Love, you don't have to. You can just go straight to YouTube, and if you're a subscriber, you're going to see us live. But backing up, just kind of curse back with us, Ray Lewis, University of Miami.
Bro, I remember that, bro. Let me tell you something, man. I'm gonna tell you something, bro. See, usually when you come off the field on defense, you go sit down, so you ain't even watching the offense play. But I kept hearing Ray Lewis on the tackle, Ray Lewis on the tackle, Ray Lewis on the and I'm like, man, after a while, I was like, we on the bench, we get them like, man, who the hell is Ray Lewis? I'm talking about, bro, Ray Lewis, man, I'm telling you, bro, like literally, man, like every play is like, God, Ray Lewis on the man. I ain't never seen nothing like it. I ain't never seen nothing like other than myself when I made, you know, when I had a couple of 20, I done had a couple of 20, 25 tackle games myself. But, you know, other than that, I ain't never seen nothing like it. Nah, man, that was cool, man. I ain't never, man, he was going so hard, man. We like stopped going to the bench. We stopped going to the bench, you know, to go over defensive philosophy because we was trying to figure out who the heck was this Ray Lewis, man. He was that dude. That was the true guy.
Yeah, that night after that conversation is when I started following his career.
Say that again.
No, that night after the conversation that we had, I'm like, man, who is this calling me? And it was you. And we start having the conversation about Ray Lewis, and I really started following him in the rest of his career after the conversation we had.
Oh yeah, man! I'm telling you, man. Ray Lewis, man, was because you know he was originally was a safety as well. You know, then he put that weight on, but he was just so smart. But man, when I tell you, he could make some plays. Woo, that joker there was the truth, for real, the truth, bro.
Absolutely.
Hey Kurt. So hey, let me enjoy the game. So, and TJ asking you about college Baylor, who was the best player you played against in high school?
Man, you know what, man? There was a dude named. I had a couple guys. There was a guy named Fabian Valerie that was a beast at MacArthur. Man, he just was talented. He just was. I mean, I never seen nobody as fluid as him. But probably the best running back that I played against was Dante. Man, when we watched Dante on film, I knew that Dante was gonna go to the league. I said, man, Dante is like. He literally looked like Barry Sanders on film.
Yeah.
And I was like, man, if this kid stay healthy, you know, and of course we played against each other in high school. Then he went to A&M. We played against each other at A&M. And the crazy thing is that when we went, I was coaching and he was at the Kansas City Chiefs, and I was a special teams coordinator. So I had a chance to go do an internship with him, but I didn't get it didn't solidify. But you know, their special team guy came down. And they were literally about to cut Dante, and he was going to be out the league. And then what happened was they put him back there as a kick returner, and then he just turned into a whole nother animal, man, because, you know, it ain't many people that could tackle him in the open field other than myself, of course, other than yours truly. But, you know, but no, real, like, you know, all BS aside, man, like, it ain't, man, you know, so he was like, he was a phenomenal athlete, man, and I knew he was going to be exceptional all the way around if he just was in the right situation. Because remember, they were trying to make him a receiver.
Right.
He wasn't a receiver, you know.
Right. But, man, it's really cool, you know, all these athletes that Curtis is referring to are within a 10 to 20-mile radius of all of where we grew up at. And these athletes not only transitioned from great high school to collegiate athletes, but also had great NFL careers. Shout out to the Rev, who also was a phenomenal athlete while he was at MacArthur High School as well. We'll be turning to him a little bit later. But
hey, think about the fact that we played with Bert. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
Bert, you know, it's so crazy, man. Because I remember when Bertrand. I mean, really, Bertrand's whole career is really just a testament of fortitude because, you know, he could have, you know, here you had a guy that had all the physical tools, you know, and was a sharp person, and then went through a transition where he was really playing out of position. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And was out of the league. I remember when he got released, me and him was sitting at the game. We went way up top, sit at the game because you know you come back and everybody wants what's going on and this, that, and the other.
Yeah.
And we just sitting up there, man. I just say, hey, man, bro, you just gotta, you gotta come on with it, bro. We had that kind of relationship because we had played together. But you had a chance to make some of these plays, and you gotta go and make these plays. And Bert just went to work, man. He went to work. Because I remember when he played in college, he had came through against Michigan and it was like to win the Rose Bowl, I think it was, and had the quarterback in his hand and didn't make the play. And and then when he was at the Colts, I think it was Cornelius Bennett that went down, so he was in a contract year, so he would have made a bunch of money if he had just had a good game, because they always overpay you when you play well in the playoffs.
Right.
And he just didn't play that well. So he ended up being out the league, and man, he came back as a defensive end and turned into an absolute monster. So then he just had a chance to just it wasn't too many tackles that could play with him like that, man. So it's just a testament to go through that and to fight your way back into it after, because when you get cut, man, it's a million other athletes right behind you, and he did his thing, man. So it's just a testament to the fortitude and resilience of him. So
yeah.
All right. Hey, one other thing that we never discussed, or I may have never asked you this question, but coming out of Baylor, did you ever have any opportunities as far as NFL tryouts or the ability to transition, whether it be NFL or Canadian League or anything like that?
Oh yeah, man. Yeah, it's so crazy, man. I had to come back from a knee injury, man, and I had a great camp, man. I ended up, getting the MVP of our spring camp and everything, and was on track to have a really good year. And then we had a coaching change, and it's so crazy because, the thing about coach.
Kurt froze up a little bit, y'all, but just.
And sometimes, if a guy has never coached a great athlete or something, like if you like for the average coach couldn't coach a Ray Lewis because Ray Lewis is such a phenomenal talent that you might actually box him in by not understanding how great he actually is. You follow what I'm saying?
Right.
And so, not to say that I was great, but I kind of went through that when we had a coaching change. We had a guy that came in from high school, so his ego was kind of in the way. And so what happened was I just kept on working hard. So when they kind of start playing games, I just said, okay, I'm going to lead the team in tackles by making every single play on special teams. And so my senior year, I might have started 4 games, but I was number 4 on the last 2 games. Like, one of my teammates that was playing safety in front of me actually literally faked an injury. He was like, man, you should have been starting the whole year, and faked an injury. I had like 25 tackles against Oklahoma State. And at the end of the game, my coach looked me in my face, man, and was in tears. He's like, Kurt, you may not believe this, but I mean, I wish I had you 2 more years, man, because he knew how he had done me. But then I ended up working out. I worked out for the Cowboys. I worked out for the Eagles. I worked out for about 6 teams. But my biggest opportunity came maybe a year and a half later. Jadrian Mitchell and Brian Lilly, God rest Brian Lilly's soul. Right. They was at the TSU relays, and a scout from the Washington Redskins came in and they said, "Hey man, we need," they was just talking, jobbing up. Say, and at the time Jadrian was working for George, so he kind of in a different circle.
Yeah.
And right. So George Foreman. And so he was talking to him, and the guy told him that he was like, man, my boy played at Baylor. He hyping up, and this guy was like, yeah, I'll take a look at him. So Jay and Brian, they call me. They crunk up, man. They come to get me, man. They crunk up. They tell me, hey, man, you got a chance to go. So, man, I went out there and ran a 40, and I went out there with Jay and them, and I was in bad shape. I wasn't in shape. So the dude was like, man, I'm gonna give you a couple weeks, and I'm gonna come down and work you out. So, man, I was working my ass off, man. Jay and Brian out there going with me every day. We getting in shape. I got myself in the best shape I ever been in, and I'll never forget it. That morning, I was on my way to U of H for my pro day workout, right? I had just talked to the Redskins. I had all my film because I had played. They needed special team players. I had all the special team film they needed. And I prayed about it. I said, God, whatever your will is, I'll accept it. When I got to the stadium, I couldn't get the guy on the phone no more. What happened was, on my way to the stadium, Norv Turner got fired.
Wow.
And when North Turner got fired, I literally, now remember, mind you now, I had just talked to him on the phone. He was on his way to meet me there. I'm making sure I'm on time. I'm there early. I'm riding in the car with the heat on and everything. And North Turner got fired that morning. And so when he got fired that morning, everybody on the staff got fired as well. So when that happened, I was at peace because I said, hey, God, I prayed about it. And so right after that, man, I got a coaching job. And then right after that, I went into real estate, and I was making more money than the minimum average in the league. So it was like, it all worked out. You know what I'm saying? But I was at peace with it. I got some guys that I played with, man, and to this day, man, it still eat them up. And I just thank God that I never felt like that. You know what I'm saying?
Appreciate you, man. Speaking on real estate, I'm always in debt to you because you got me into real estate, and ultimately that's what helped me transition to my insurance career. Outstanding salesperson that you are. I know, from the folks that are part of this podcast, all of us have been successful as far as sales are concerned. But I want to transition to and shed some light on your business. I refer to you now no longer as Kurt, but you missed the 5,000 CDs. Tell me where the idea came from. Tell me how the business is doing. Give me some feedback on that.
Okay, man, it's crazy, man. My brother, I tell you what, so first off, my dad, we've always been in the music business. My dad was actually the first gospel distributor of VHS tapes in the city of Houston.
Wow.
And so my dad had duplicators back then, and it was so crazy. My dad used to do live recordings. He's probably recorded 11 albums. And so I literally would be setting up the mics and everything.
Froze up a little bit. Be back in a second.
Subscribe to It Is What It Is podcast, all caps and spaces. Do that, and whenever you're looking for our live broadcast, it'll be able to indicate to you that we are live and in direct and handling our business. And
you'll be able to go longer than Facebook.
Absolutely.
So you get to see the whole stream and whatnot. But there's Curtis's email address, 5000cds@gmail.com.
Absolutely.
That's where you can reach them.
Good stuff, man. It's this is ultimately the foundation of what we wanted to do with this podcast, is to be able to talk about old times, but kind of where are they now and what are they doing now? And as we wait for Kurt's stream to come back on.
What a real vet.
What a real vet.
Yeah. You got something for us, real? Uh-oh.
Baby. Can you hear me?
We can hear you.
Yeah, we can hear you, baby.
Hey, man, it's been a real beautiful interview that y'all been doing this evening with my man, Curtis Henderson. I kind of remember him from Humble High School. And again, like I said, everybody out there in social media land, every single week on the It Is What It Is show, we going to have a special guest for y'all. And again, they going to tell us about their highs and they lows and stuff. This be the hottest show on Thursday, other than Thursday night football on the NFL. Right now, we got the score 10-10 going into halftime, baby. So again, like I say, I'm just honored to be a part of this show. And on Sundays at 6 o'clock, y'all tune in to the Rev Show, where we spin the best in old school.
Awesome show, man. Y'all tune in. The Rev Show is going down on Sundays, baby. All old school stuff. Rev is spinning and everything, and it's a beautiful thing. Want y'all to tune in and check him out.
Yeah, he stay on it. He keep you entertained, if anything, at the same time. Just trying to figure him out. So, Bruce, let me ask you this question. And you playing with Curtis. What's the best or most amazing play you've seen Curtis do in high school? If you recall.
I'll tell you the one I seen when he decleated Andre, man, from over at Aldine. And man, he put Andre out the game. he gave Andre a rib shot, an upper rib shot, like just below the pectoral muscle. Yeah. put him out of there, Jack.
Caught him.
Yeah, he waylaid him hard, real hard. Yeah, so it was a deep Cleveland.
B-Dub, I got a memory of this may have been a scrimmage when we were in high school, and I was on the offensive end, but y'all was on defense, and I'll never forget it was you, Curtis, and Rick Taylor. The three of you. I don't remember what year it was, but man, all I can remember is y'all had bad intentions on hitting people, and like, buddy, they was all kind of sons of bitches, motherfuckers being yelled out there when they was hitting people. Like they were really trying to injure and mainframe and do harm to them.
Everybody.
You know, they bodily functions. So, knocking down yard markers and everything, man.
It happens like that sometimes, man.
Y'all got to excuse me with this cable tonight. Bruce, you might have said it best, man, about this cable, internet, or whatever you call this stuff I got going on over here.
I got a question for you, though, Real. I got a question for you. Did your cousin Harry Humble hook that cable up?
Hey, man, look here. Let me tell y'all something about my cousin Harry. That's my second cousin, and that's the coolest Negro to ever come out of April's home.
Man. Y'all got to meet Harry, man. Harry's something else, man. Harry's something else. Hey, but Harry a hustler now.
You know cousin?
Yeah.
You know my cousin?
Yeah, I know Harry.
Coolest cat on the
top. Hey, check it out. Don't even worry about it, Phil. I know that sucker. Don't worry about it, Phil. I know him.
Hey, man, look here. I would call him up right now, but you know he the only cat I know that get up at 3 a.m. So Harry gone to bed.
Yeah. Now Harry something. Harry used to come in the barbershop while I used to get my hair cut neighbor's home, man.
Selling them alls.
Yeah. As a matter of fact, me and Harry ended up on a cruise together one time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, really? Man. I seen Harry on that CrossFit, man. Going to Cozumel. Going to Cozumel. I said, man, Harry getting around. I said, well, y'all run around here playing. Y'all think Harry out here on some BS, but Harry out here handling the business, man. You know what I'm saying? Harry shaking some spots around there, man. So,
hey, man, Harry is what you call internationally known and
locally
around here. Harry don't do none of that.
Well, Red, we got about 4 minutes until halftime. I'm looking at the New York Jets and the Denver Broncos are tied at 10. Both of these teams are 0-3, so somebody has to win tonight. Hopefully, this doesn't end in a tie,
which would be dope.
But it would be dope. Look, is there any way at the end of this second quarter you can give us a taste of what you do on Sundays?
Oh, man, well, Steve, I can do that, but that music right there that I play on Sundays, y'all ain't ready for all that right there. But I'm going to give you, man.
I'm pretty sure.
Hey, man, we stay ready, keep them getting ready, cuz.
Look, exactly. And if they ain't ready, the ass got to get ready.
Right. Exactly. You know what I'm saying?
So we want a taste of that. And I think what we'll do is we'll come back just to let everybody know we might not go through the whole rest of this game because we getting old, man. We got shit we got to tend to be honest with you.
And look, I gotta go to first grade tomorrow.
Yeah, we got a quarter in or so after halftime that we might go. We got some good topics, some shit. So if you stay on board, and we know your old asses might not stay on board either because y'all got shit y'all got to attend to. But that's all right. Exactly. We gonna be here, goddamn. We're gonna let the do his thing during halftime.
I'm at where I'm at, and I'll be where I'll be.
Yeah.
I told the wife, I said, baby, I don't know about the Is What It Is show because these cats stay up all night. But see, you like me, you got to get up early.
So, hey, one of the first songs, Mike, you got early. That might be the Gap Band. Get up early in the morning might be one of the first ones that you put down right there. But look, let me tell you, we got a couple minutes left, damn near 2-minute warning before halftime. We got some stuff that we can talk about. We're going to come in the third quarter, ladies and gentlemen. We have a lot of topics that we want to discuss. I'm only going to use this couple-minute bracket for sports because I really want to come back and get into the life and culture topics that we want to discuss because we got a lot of shit going on that we need to touch on. And it's some serious shit. You know, but as far as the sports thing, man, I'm going to just do a high-level overview and ask y'all's opinion on some stuff. Let me start. I'm going to go NBA, Major League Baseball, and NFL. NBA Finals we got going on in the bubble in Orlando. The Lakers have put the smackdown on Miami Heat ass last night, so that series is 1-0. King James might be on his way to his 4th championship ring. I'm going to congratulate him in advance because it don't look like the Heat going to do nothing to come back. 305, that shit did. But look, Major League Baseball, we got the playoffs going. The Astros represent for H-Town just swept the Twins' ass on yesterday. We moving forward. It's like we're going to play the Oakland A's come Monday. We'll talk a little bit about that. And then in the NFL, man, you know, Houston Texans, man, 0-3. Gonna have a little fans there for the Vikings come Sunday. Don't know if it's gonna help, but we'll see. The 0-3 Texans against the 0-3 Vikings. Holla at your boy, man. What y'all think? First, we start off with LeBron and the Lakers. What y'all think about that?
Well, see, it's LeBron and the Lakers, TJ. Let Onk say it first. Let the Rev say it first. And I put it on my Facebook page last night. The order of the NBA is y'all go get them brooms downstairs that y'all don't be sweeping with and pull them out. We can see a sweep. We might see a sweep. The Stros, hey, man, when it comes to the Stros, they ain't gonna win a World Series, but they gonna go far. When it come to them Texans, Willie Church saying, see, when you don't do right, you don't come out right. I'm gonna say that again. When you don't do right, you don't come out right. Now Hopkins, he over there having 100 yards receiving a game. You see what I'm saying? With a quarterback. See, y'all always remember they do a little right because a little right is still, and this what happens to you. Not a rail through. Y'all say what you got to say.
Well, shout out real quick to my boy Beating off in the building, man. Hey, shout out to you, man. Appreciate you checking us out, brother.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. I'm gonna say this here, man. 305 is actually the 302. They rolling on rim. They're not going nowhere, man. I really think it was kind of solidified. Even though they may come back and play well tomorrow night, I think it's pretty much over with because I saw an interview earlier today with Jimmy Butler. And, man, he did not look very confident at all. He did not look very confident in their chances going forward. On the Astros, I'm going to say this here, man. I'm optimistic because they playing with a chip on their shoulder. I know Carlos Correa kind of bombed out on them last night with a 430-some-odd feet home run, and it propelled them to a victory. But it seemed like they got some business on their mind, man, that they're looking to take care of. Now, as far as them Texans go, they got 4 flat tires, and all of them is unrepairable.
All of them.
Yeah. I'll chime in now. So I'm gonna start with the Texans. My first issue is how is Bill O'Brien still in Houston?
Oh,
not coaching, but how he's still in Houston.
How is he still here?
Yeah, he should be. The closest he should be is Huntsville or Conroe.
Catmandu.
Yeah, exactly. I'm gonna go with the Astros. I'm going Astros championship to surprise everybody.
I believe it. I can believe that. And
they find on the radar because I had just looked at the tournament bracket schedule, and I was like, man, wait a minute, Astros advance? Oh yeah, they go fly on the radar screen. So I'm going Stros to the World Series to win in 2020. It'd be perfect for them, right, to do 2020 World Series this year after everything happened last year, and then they go give us some more type of instigation.
1 minute about them Stros. Let me cut in and ask you this about them Stros, bub, because I think I saw a picture of you in the little Astros uniform when you was about 6-7 years old, and Uncle Robert coach. That's all that's about. Goodbye.
Yeah. So now you can't tell me I'm not no bandwagon fan. I've been a Stroke since I was in Little League.
Absolutely. I'm gonna chime in and finish this thing so we can get to the Rev. We got a minute or something left in this little game here. But first off, on the Lakers and the Heat series, Miami, 305, Rick Ross, Luke Skywalker, Two Live Crew, DJ Khaled, Pitbull,
Gloria
Trina, Gloria Stephon,
Trick Daddy,
R.I.P. baby. Hey,
Rodney and Joe Cooley.
Hey man, y'all done pissed off this man and that man that came through like Hurricane King James. And he devouring everything out of 305. So
yeah,
I pray that y'all get at least one win out of this thing extended. But right now it's looking like bring the brooms out, like the Rev said.
So I thought again they was gonna lose, but just get one at least. But now they got two of their main players hurt, so I don't even see it.
Bam and Dragic then had these, typically it always happens when you get the ass whooped, mysterious injuries come out of nowhere.
Well, I knew it was going to be a problem for them, man, when they thought that they were going to bring a zone against that particular LA Lakers team. That ain't going to work, man. That ain't
I'm gonna stick with this order because Kel Wheel, he done came with this bullshit on the Texans gonna shock the world, but I'm not gonna get into them real quick. I'm gonna transition to these Astros.
Yeah, they gonna shock the world all right now.
Look, y'all want to hit us with these Astros. We done banged on these trash cans. We done did all these illegal signs and all this old other bullshit y'all talking about. But guess what? How that worked out for the Minnesota Twins?
Ass whooping.
Sweep out of there. So now we going to Oakland next, and we playing them in LA on a neutral field. So it's going to be R.I.P. Too Short, R.I.P. Keisha Cole, R.I.P. to everybody from Northern California. They about to get that business because the Astros going to be on that ass.
They going to just sprinkle them.
Out of there. All that little hypey dancing and all that E40 stuff, it is not going to matter in these next few days. About a week or so,
they're gonna be out there getting hypey. They're gonna have to get hypey.
You stay swinging and banging over there.
Exactly.
Now, when we come to these Texans, I done built up my little weight. I'm probably about 175 now.
Built up?
All the energy that I have in my 175 pounds won't even let me comment on them. So I'm gonna end this segment of the show with, how about them Cowboys? And I'm done.
They lost last week too.
How about them Cowboys? How about them Cowboys?
But they lost last week too, right? Did the Cowboys?
We're gonna turn this thing over, man. Let the Rev do his thing, man. Holla at us on Do Your Thing. The Rev Show, Sunday at 6 o'clock, man. Facebook Live, tune in, baby.
Hey, man, look here. I just want to say I appreciate that y'all letting me come on y'all show with the kind of exquisite brothers that you all are. Y'all know I'm just an old head around here. Not even though TJ got more gray than I do down here. I'm still I'm like Uncle Snoop or somebody around here. But you know what, man? For your boy Curtis, let's get him one of his brother's songs. How about that?
Yeah.
Let's put him in the mix. We're gonna do the let's put him in there.
Shout out to Pink Gator.
Don't forget to subscribe. It is what it is podcast. All caps with space. Go out and subscribe.
All caps. That means not them little bitty ass love.
Hey, for the first, I do this myself. For the first 50 subscribers, I'm gonna send you a special gift.
Y'all hear that? For the first, how many, bub?
50.
For the first 50.
I gotta be more exclusive. Go 50. I did 50.
Let's do 50. For the first 50 subscribers, guess what, y'all? Got a little treat coming. My pan Pinch Gator out of Houston, Texas. Curtis Henderson's baby brother, his baby brother, older brother.
Baby brother. He everybody brother on this. Baby brother. Yo, everybody baby brother on this one. Turn it up for us. You can't hear it real.
grind, get nobody tripping. H-time ripping, no side living. Get it how you live a grind, get nobody tripping. H-time ripping, side living. Get it how you live a grind, get nobody tripping. H-time ripping, no side living. Get it how you live a grind, get nobody tripping. In them humble high hallways, writing rhymes all day.
That's y'all school of Humble High.
Yes, sir.
King Gator, baby.
No side and right. Had a couple partners up and smiling. Fucking lot tipping, but your boy was freestyling. Frame from the page. Way back in the day, they was rocking.
Pinch Gator out of Humble, Texas. By the ways of H-Town, y'all.
Had a
Oh,
couple
Pink Gator.
from the campus. Even Maker had a player getting shows.
Who remember that Maker? That might have been before y'all time.
No, sir. Spent good time in there.
Tuesday, college night around here.
No side living. Get it how you live around, get nobody tripping. H-time, no side living. Get it how you live around, get nobody tripping. H-time ripping, no side living. Get it how you live around, get nobody tripping. H-time ripping, no side living. Get it how you live around, get nobody tripping. On the wrap around bus, flipping through the nickel. Shirley got a peppermint stuck up in the pickle.
Oh, my cousin Harry on podcast.
Yep.
Oh, what Harry is that, bud?
Huh?
Oh, he
Harry
left.
Humble. Nah, he reacted to you. He was laughing at you.
Harry Humble, my cousin. I'm finna text him right now.
Yeah.
Saturday, we gon' go and play the next block. Shirts on, skins off, drinking the water hose. Growing up these days, kids, they would never know. If we had beef, we would break dance out. Real love, good love, this is what it's all about. I've been around the world, but I gotta rep my own. Got for the South, but no side be my home. Hey, ripping, no side living. Get it how you live around, get no poppin'. H-time ripping, no living. Get it how you live around, get nobody tripping. H-time ripping, no side living. Get it how you live around, get nobody tripping. H-time ripping, no side living. Get it how you live around, get nobody tripping.
Play a little like Ghetto Boys.
Bubblegum flashing in my ribs, spraying freshener, trying to stay too. With no throw down, airing out the wide, got a loaded 45 inside. That I keep for protection when I'm riding by. I'm 50 West, they got a scope. And I may have somebody want it. Just know that you ain't done shit. You got the haters in.
Lil TJ in the background. I see you, Lil TJ. You must ain't got to go to school in the morning, Lil TJ. Put me down. Y'all know it's the Rev on the It Is What It Is podcast. And we do it old school hip hop. We don't know nothing about them skinny jeans and purse wearing rappers now, but we gonna leave it alone, Bruce. We still crease our jeans down the middle around here.
Right.
Start your orchard, baby.
Start it, Archie.
Huh. Ouchie. So
With the stay
I
flow.
would like to play some new hip hop. I know it, y'all.
We don't know it either. Bruce might know it. Yeah.
Who remember this one right here?
Just like candy, baby. 8-ball MJG. Give it to me.
8-ball and MJG.
Turn it up for me, real.
Uh-oh. What happened?
It's a must. Drop it in the shop, take a mile, wrap up 10. Clear coast to make it shine, make me circle through the neighborhood. 55 times with my gas tank full. Drink a pool, fall up in the park, got the dog try to pull me. Woman, something pretty, nice round hips with the well shaped titties. The sun goes down, I'm getting dirty. Fall up in pressure word, get clean in a hurry. In my 7-7 Chevy, ass tight. Pull off cutting rubber, disappeared in the night in the.
Guess what, y'all? It is what it is. What it is. Show with the Rev spinning the best in old school hip hop. We don't do a lot of cutting, scratching, and mixing, but we'll put y'all in the groove around here on the It Is What It Is show. TJ Harris, Bub Love, Big Bruce. Y'all know the Rev got to DJ this thing and make it pop for you.
My superb, the candy coated bird.
Your boy said candy coated bird. All right, Bub, next week when I get this little pick, you'll be able to control the volume a little better around here.
Yeah, nah, you good. You good. Baby, bring you home.
Look at Bruce over there doing the bunny, y'all.
Negative.
My candy coated play with burning flavors to your mind. And in the summertime, it got the whole block blind. So bust in the prime down, window popping gang. Line saying he gon' go and get the same thing. If you ain't right.
Man, hold up, baby.
Like Dizzy
So what?
Robert Davis, he the king of the South. Anything else, he shut the fucking mind. Power Wild still.
Got the game. You brother coming, people need to shut the fuck up. Job chewing up that bush. Your white people laughing at him, that's what's happening. They say it's stupid. Still ain't beat it. Man, we gon' run the side. Y'all need to get up out the dumb shit.
Thank you.
Get up out that dumb.
Man, PYC, love MJ. Thank you.
I got the face breaking, trunk shaking like tambourine. This H for the paint streets, where they bouncing on poles like trampolines. It's the great state of Texas, so I can't believe all the content you play. It's time to get rid of it like I'm about to take it back. So I play it to the beats and I ain't talking. Time we the team. It ain't no iron that you trying that you be fatigued. Chris, we get all stars around. Sick man, I ain't gotta start POP this man. I'm a man, something that fire, but the assist man. 3, 2, 1, switch. Good, don't it? Masterpiece, dripping with the bowls on it. Drum airtight speakers in them show like on the slab, sipping bar, smoking weed, selling white. The mother nigga shit don't come back right. That's how niggas get pop, trying to get the cheaper price. I no paper, Lord's life. Cause most these niggas ain't living. Keep your feet the fight. Niggas I hit that every night. I keep my mind on my money, nigga, fuck the fame. Big face hunters, keeping the game. Hitting the corner in the candy thing, sitting on lip, gripping the grain.
Good drink, big money. Hey, rolling in something foreign, don't let the bitches get my bitches, so I think I deserve it. Hey, when I came in the door, I said it before. I never fuck a hoe, but I did no more. I never pull up with a list in the boat. It ain't just for the show. I'm blessed from the dough. And don't for my spit out. I'm sitting nigga, baby, my home with a spit out. You can have a bitch, nigga. I ain't sitting in the house. Smoke weed and freestyle. Spit out. Get out. Niggas be scared. Motherfuckers, judge, prosecutor, and the DA. Then to the H where the hoes are fuck 3-way, 2-way, 4-way. Ain't no way to pro say. Say, no, I won't. No, I can't stop it. And no, I don't. Cause a bitch know I might just explode and slap in the face with a pile elbow. Cause a nigga get low. Good drink, big money. Hey. Rolling in something foreign, no leather gripping shit. I handle my business, so I think I deserve it. Hey. So, yeah. Good weed, good drink, big money. Hey. Rolling in something foreign, no leather gripping shit. I handle my business, so I think I deserve it. Hey, 16 follow people, West PA. Hey, I grind hard, play hard, got the body, yo. Heat up the water, damn. Swear to God, the minute they do tricks, hit the brakes, hit the line, and voila, they go them bricks. Slide through the hood, sitting on some big wheels, niggas copping white, turn bar wheels. I start my next meal trip all day, riding dirty, 3 9s in a 4-way. Drink big money, hey, big money, man. We only ride the best. One and only, big home. Try to told you I'm dog. I'm scoring on foreign land. Worldwide, I'm known for the arm and hand. I'm a wanted man. Born again. Started with the block, by brick, and I charted with the block, nigga. I'm retarded with the clip by clip. The competition is hard to cease to exist. Let it breathe a little bit. He's off his rocker. He's a little stick. Y'all hear Jay the dog in the back.
Sure. Y'all niggas want war. Y'all got it backwards. Y'all shit want brawl. Y'all shit want
hey, rolling something foreign, no leather gripping. I know my business, so I think I.
I really Push the hottest beats, feel fast through the city, play Monopoly with real cash. Me and Biggie and the models be shaking names to Diddy ass and Parada be something you cats got to see and the watches be all types of shapes and stones. Being broke is childish and I'm quite grown. Run up in the club with the ice on, me and Pagone. Scoop the spot, you cats home. In the fight zone, I'm in the 1500 seats, watching tights on. Same night, same fight. One of us cats ain't playing right. I let you tell it. Place yourself in the shoes of two felons and tell me you won't fall any chance you get. At any chance you hit, we live for the moment. Makes sense, know that? Now $8, cash pop, phone kicks that beat by I with fly smiling.
Watching the back song, watch platinum, got jet lag from, like back and forth, pop, for the best breaks, make the best CDs and the best things. Don't forget the vinyl, chick girl, Blake's final, Biggie B, Gucci like line. You see the H classes, ice the jet off like flashes, blind bro, was out, mustaches, rock top fashions, ain't nothing change except after the dot on the range. Look at me now, kinda strange. I hate y'all too. Rather be in Caribbean sand to breakthrough. It's my real out the blue. Frank White got the pill. To go real, still. Trying to see 5 mil off the single. For real. You ain't phasing up amazing. But your blazing, mine is blazing. See me on top of sweetness, cooking for weakness. Be quick. I got a bad boy, collabo, MC, man, culture.
Stay full, skip the ball cause we mad at doors. Snatch the P89s that we pack in the drawers and we clap the doors of your actor roll. Snap like cameras on amateurs. Make you all dance, hold a hammer to yours. Jigging big, rock ice, no crack. Everybody got a fucking play. Back yours. Run up in your crib now, crack your doors. Real players live. It's a habit. Play the charts like the Beatles.
So fucking blab. Or flame a bit of batter, chitter chatter, man, the bit in the bad hat. Bet you buy shit, come on my platter, got the data, turn your body into antimatter. And just like a piece of sizzling, you'll fit inside my stomach with the egg to keep between. The king is what I mean. My man get a cup and put it inside your hand. Hold up. Let's make this a make it. Everybody disagrees with them, just need a tissue. I bet your mama miss you and I bet you back and forth like every sister. No more you whining on the charts climbing as I make the phone kicking out for harder than a nine. And if you didn't know who's right, I guess I'm gonna think right back with purple time. You won't be around next year, my rap show. Kick your man flavor in your head. Here comes the brand new flavor in your head. Time for new flavor in your ear. Kicking new flavor in your ear. Like a brand new flavor in your ear. 1,000 degrees. You'll be on your knees and you'll be burning, begging, please. Please, man, sweet and deep booted folks smoke and leave your brains booted. With stamina like that, the winner, thanks for them sick for dinner. You're crazy like that glue. That thing that you can outdo my 1-2 that's sick like the flu. Shake them down, boy. I flip boy all the time. Cause boy, run boy, it ain't worth the time. Seems like there's no competition in this rap world expedition. You come around and knock you out position, knock them out. No flame could ever dig a grave. Off the back, power pack and black, make it see back crack. And here comes a brand new flavor, yeah, back to brand new flavor in your head. Here comes a brand new flavor, brand new. Time for new flavor in your hair. I'm getting new flavor in your hair. Max brand new flavor in your hair. Here comes a brand new flavor in your hair. Time for new flavor in your hair. I'm kicking new flavor in your hair. Max brand new flavor in your hair. Max new. But forever MCs more not than movies. I like to break it down, breaking forsaken laws that am shaking with the fact that my man's making. And people run like a bomb threat. I bet, or better yet, make you sweat, getting hotter than the sun get. Big Mac is the blade that bumps from here. I break all rules with my action. That the MC start relaxing. I new sheriff, that's the cat. Getting down, leaving my bitch in the ground. I set up rhymes for a decoy down my bad boy. Watch the MC not destroy. And here comes the brand new flavor in your ear. Time for new flavor in your ear. I'm kicking new flavor in your ear.
The Rev. Yeah. Man. Hold on, baby. Hey, you can even, while you smoke that Mary Jane, subscribe to It Is What It Is podcast. All caps, spaces on YouTube, baby.
Hey, man, look here. I appreciate y'all in and throw a little this old school hip hop at TZ. And y'all check me out every Sunday at 6 o'clock on the Rev Show, where I spin the best in old school R&B. But we gonna stop this joint right now and get back to talking, because we don't want y'all to get restless on us. Bud, take over the wheel.
Hey, man, here we go.
Yeah, baby. Hey, appreciate the Rev, man. Like you just said, y'all tune in to the Rev Show. Facebook Live, going hard every Sunday at 6 o'clock, man. You know, he gave us a little hip hop flavor tonight for our show, but he's an R&B, old school flavor, man. I love it. I'm tuned in every Sunday, man. Y'all check it out, man. Talk to and holler at the Rev on Sundays.
Great show.
Fellas, man, we had a little, you know, Curtis was, it was awesome to be able to see him. First of all, to be able to see him and have him talk with us, but then also to see him as a father supporting his son at the Humble High School football game out at the Berry Stadium tonight in Cypress, Texas. Had a few phone difficulties, things like that. Not sure if he's going to be able to get back with us, man, but really appreciate him for being a part of our show tonight. Fellas, I wanted to, before we went to break, we talked about sports, but I kind of want to talk about a lot of things having to do with life, man. And I'm over here to my left. I've got a screen up, and I really wanted to touch on this. And this is a crazy number, man. But 999 people have been shot and killed by police in the past year. Okay, I want to reiterate that 999 people have been shot and killed by police in the past year. The reason I wanted to reiterate that is because it says people. See, sometimes this thing gets twisted into just a race topic, right? But it's people.
Right.
Okay. It affects everybody, you know. So for those people that stand on a certain line because of race and they say Blue Lives Matter, which they do, you know, we understand that. We've got friends, family, people that we know that are part of Blue Lives, and we get that. But lives matter, period.
Exactly.
And there are more lives that are being taken that aren't blue lives. Okay. And that's what we want to touch on tonight. And we've actually touched on that in past shows where we've talked about what the problem is, and obviously just that number, 999, that's the problem right there. But we want to touch on how do we resolve this? You know, what are some ideas that we have that can help with the interaction between local authorities and people? Or can we?
Yeah, I think it's possible, but I think what's going to have to happen, start from scratch. For one, you said in people, to where it's always now, I guess you say for the African American population, there's a anxiety of the law enforcement, right? That's just on this side. But
Right.
in order to get in, and there's a reason why we got there, right? Because of what's going on. But I think in going forward, what may have to happen is an upgrade in training for the law enforcement. It's not to say it's bad, but there's a psychological part of it to where it has to be changed. And of course, so you all may have heard this up at Stephen F. Austin recently this past week. There was an announcement that someone, but it's a backstory to that also, which I found out. But in the front story that we all have heard of, to where they were saying that police officers went into that girl's room with guns drawn. Now that's the part of the training I'm talking about, to where it's a whole other story to that. So I'm not setting my stone on that, my foot on that, but it's the notion of thinking that happens all the time, and it does happen. But in that situation, if guns were drawn coming in, to where why did they go with guns drawn? To where that's one thing that has to be trained differently within law enforcement, to be able to resolve an issue without firepower. Of course, that's the strongest arm of a law that you can have is firepower. But on the other end, we have to figure out how to resolve issues without death or the threat of death. And maybe even people who like the one kid who got shot who has autism, and his mom called and said that he was acting out, but she needs some help, and they shot the little boy. I think he's 12. He didn't die, but I mean, it's just like a kid dying when you shoot a 12-year-old because he has autism and he's just acting out, and the mother don't handle him. But it's like I said, resolving an issue with a deadly weapon is one of the problems, I think, going forward. And how do we resolve those issues? Of course, there's bad things that happen when people are coming around shooting and driving fast and robbing banks, all that stuff. That's that 3 to 2% of what's happening. Of course, there's 3 to 2% of bad law enforcement also, which make it for the extreme on both ends. The extreme on having the disbanding of so-called trying to disband the police force, and also trying to have this firepower, having this lethal force on people. Something has to be figured out sooner than later. But I think in the arrogance of the America itself, other parts of the world don't have this problem. So why can't we? And this goes between law enforcement working with the COVID process, everything, so everything is clearing up in the rest of the world except for here. Why does America have this problem over and over again here? Why can't we just humble ourselves and learn from other people and how they're doing stuff, and go forward and see what we can do with our environment that we have and make that better? That's kind of my biggest question: is why don't we learn from other people's progression or even from their mistakes, and incorporate into what we have? We're not copying; we're just getting better on what we have. That's my kind of 2 cents on going forward. Let's look at somewhere else and see what they're doing.
That's a good take, buddy. It really is.
I think it's a good take. But
what you say? What you got, Rev?
I think those some very, very good points Bub just made about law. And when you observe law enforcement, because as you hit on a minute ago, TJ, all cops are not bad. And I'm talking about Caucasian, white cops too. All of them are not bad. But it's one bad apple, as the old folk would say, will spoil a whole bunch around here. Now, on the flip side, let's talk about this too. See, just like the cops need to have better training, well, our young people, not all the time, but some of the time, we have to train them too in how to act when they're stopped by cops stuff. Because this, as I tell my son who just turned 21 today, happy birthday to you, baby James. He's
happy
still my
birthday.
baby boy.
Real.
Happy birthday, homie.
Hey, James. Hold on.
James.
On this podcast, and Uncle Bubba and them want to say something to you.
Happy birthday, homie.
We just want to wish you happy birthday.
Happy birthday, my dude.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's all
21
good.
today.
21.
He getting ready to go out of town. Yeah, he ain't got time for us to run.
Yeah, I got something for him to come back. Oh, nice. Tell him I got something for him to come back.
James, Uncle Mike say he got something for you when you come back. Uncle Mike say he got something for you when he come back.
Oh, all right. Thank you.
Matter of fact, just send me his cash out. Send me his cash out.
He say, I give him your number. But it's like I say all the time. I tell him, I say, James, if you start getting rude, arrogant, and acting crazy with these people, and if unfortunately gun you down, it's like I tell him, we can tear up a bunch of stuff. We can even get some money out of it, but nothing that'll bring you back from the dead around here. So again, like I say, the police needs training, and I'm not saying that we have to be quote unquote intricate heads to these police, but we need to teach our how to play business. Hey man, have your driver license, have your insurance. When the cop come to your car, have that stuff already in your hand and stuff. Hey, don't sit there and start tongue wrestling. Yeah. Take your ticket, let's go fight it out in court or whatever. But then again, there have been cases where kids have obeyed the law and everything, and they still got handled rough. So I think on both ends, the penalty for this police brutality, it needs to be stiff. That's one. And at home, we have to do a better job in training our children. We can't expect nobody else to train them. Everybody on this panel, except for Bruce, have a boy, but they have a child. So we got to start teaching our child how to act, whether they are dealing with law enforcement, whether they're dealing with teachers, because you all have kids that are coming up and that's going to be in grade school and stuff, how to deal with teachers and just how to deal with authority in general. Because now you take you, Mike, you, TJ, you, Bruce, well, our parents just different. And we knew a little bit more respect than these kids do now. So we got to teach them how to be respectful when you're dealing with cops or whatever. Again, do what they ask you to do within the law. Like I tell my son, if you clean and stuff and he says, tell him, no, I don't want you to search my car without proper cause. Call your sergeant, but it's a way you got to say that too. So that's just my take on the situation.
Good stuff.
Everybody needs a little training.
Right. What you got for us?
It's like, man, everybody is going to have to do a complete overhaul. The things that has occurred in the past and the way that things have been brought about in the past up until now, everybody's going to have to do a complete overhaul. That's from law enforcement to lawmakers, to the judges, the DAs, to parenting, to the kids. Everybody's going to have to do an overhaul, and it's for the betterment for us all to keep all of us, on the safe side of things. There are many instances where, I've seen via social media what a police officer pull somebody over, and the first thing, some of these, people are doing is that they're, bucking the system and telling the police officer, I'm not rolling down my window. Well, that right there, man, is already, a red flag. To get things going.
Yeah, cut back.
And that right there can send a domino effect, rapidly, all because you don't want to roll your window down. you know. And I understand the reason why you don't want to, roll your window down, but at the same time, there's all rules and regulations that we have to adhere to. Not that I'm saying that those are the rules and regulations and that they are right, but you have to live to fight another day.
Because I apologize, my phone that went dead on y'all.
That's
But
all right.
the sad thing about that, Bruce, is this, man, is that my question is always, but is it a crime? You feel what I'm saying? See, some people are afforded the leeway to do what they're legally allowed to do, and then if you don't feel comfortable and you ask for a supervisor, that's the real rule and regulation. And when you operate outside of that, then people should be held accountable for operating outside of rules and regulations.
Oh yeah.
Different penalties like I
10,000%. I agree with you 10,000% on that because, of course, you all that know me know of a situation that occurred in Humble High School parking lot, man, as a preteen in my years, and myself and another friend of ours that we all know, gentleman by the name of Kobe Davis. He and I were, witnessed and felt police brutality at the age of 12 and 13 years old, man. And I've never forgotten it. And every time I think about it, it runs me excessively hot. So I try not to think about it, if I'm pulled over by a police officer, I try not to think about it in a negative manner. I always think about how, if worse come to worse, how am I going to get myself out of this situation? And sometimes, man, you don't know what to do. So it's best to keep your mouth closed. Sometimes that's the best defense that you have, is to keep your mouth closed. But I've seen instances, man, where you're getting belligerent with them, you're not going to win. You can't fight on the side of the road, man, with them people, man. Get them in a courtroom and hash it out there. That's just my personal opinion, to keep everybody safe, because I know how things can, play out and scenarios can be changed rapidly. We've already seen that prime example in a place called Louisville, Kentucky. So you have. We went
through that. Me and TJ, we was actually together when that happened. Me, TJ. Yeah, did you tell him about that, T?
Yeah, I know about it. Yeah. I know about it.
So that's what I was gonna chime in on, Kurt. Is first off, one of the things that I say is we're all peers, but we all mentor each other. And one of the things B-Dub has always told me that sticks in my brain every single day, man, is trouble is easy to get into, but it's hard to get out of.
It's easy.
Yeah, it is.
These are his words,
let me chime in a minute. It's just like I tell my son, both of them or whatever. I say, man, you guys don't realize. I said, but things change overnight. Things are change in a heartbeat. I said, the stuff you see now and the stuff you do now, in 5 seconds, all that be done changed on you around here. So it's about the decision making. And one thing that I can say about all you brothers, because all of y'all are a little younger than me, is, hey man, keep doing what you're doing with your boys and your girls. See, a lot of times, like in Bruce's situation, everybody talk about the boys or whatever. They'll say, we need to, hey Jay, not right now. We need to mentor the boys. We need to do. But we forget about them girls, and you still got girls you got to think about.
You're right.
Everybody done forgot about the girl, but they need mentoring too. And what you young guys are doing, just like my man Kurt out there at the high school game, both of my boys tell you from the time I'm able to lift up a pair of cleats, I've never, and I'm not exaggerating, I've never missed a game for. I just don't do that. You see what I'm saying? No matter what it is, you guys keep raising your boys. It's all right to teach them how to cut grass. It's all right to teach them how to wash cars. It's all right to slap the hell out of them if you have to. That's all right. You know what I mean? But y'all stay with your boys, because I heard Bruce Matthew. No, I heard Ray Lewis say one time about one of the Matthew boys when he got drafted, and this stuck with me. Ray Lewis, I'm telling you, he gonna be somebody. He gonna start in the league. And they said, well, why you say that, Ray? They say because he come from a family of football, and said, I don't care if you come from a family or not. Nobody, and remember this, fellas, nobody will teach your boy what his dad can teach him. You will always be the dad. Can't nobody. You may not have played a down of football in your life. You may not have run a lick of track, swung a baseball, shot a basketball. But just because you're there, can't nobody teach him what you can teach him. And that, and I believe that, right? Ain't nobody teach your boy.
Staying on course. What we were speaking about, even though we're grown men, all of us in our 40s, and or above, or whatever the case may be, man, you have to check yourself too, because when those situations arise, I know me, y'all know me too, and there's been times in my life I did not, display the best, resilience and being patient with things. And as I've gotten older, I've had to learn it, because the phrase that TJ said that I say to him all the time, man, it was taught to me too as well. And, by me being a person of stature, I really, really have to be careful when approached or confronted by law officials. So check yourself too, man. There's nothing wrong with that. Check yourself. I'd rather for you to check yourself than somebody, take a video or I get a phone call and say, hey, man, the police, they done so-and-so to T, or they done so-and-so to Mike, or they done so-and-so to Kurt, or done so-and-so to Phil. I don't ever want to get those type of calls, you know what I mean? Yeah. Check yourself at all times, man.
And B-Dub, I'm going to add to that, man, something that just giving y'all a little insight on. He and I, we have a lot of late night conversations on this, so this is for Buddy Love, this is for, B-Dub, the Rev, Kurt. Man, your job at the end of the day is to get home at night.
Yeah,
that's it. Yeah. I don't care what it takes or how somebody feels about you, man. There's people waiting on you when you get to the house. That's more important than any of the bullshit you got to deal with in these streets. So your job is to get home. And I wanted to also touch on, man, and Kurt, I'm so glad you was able to get back in, man. But probably one of the saddest times of my life was witnessing a friend of mine actually go through police brutality. And we together, we were out, man, we were dressed up, we were dressed nice. We were doing the whole club scene and the party scene where we was passing out flyers, we was promoting concerts, different things like that. We were going to some of your nicer upper echelon clubs that required us to be of a certain standard when it came to dress code, and we were going to other spots that didn't. So to make sure that we fit in on all sides of the story, we were dressed nicely, basically suits, sports coats, ties, slacks, tucked in shirts, the whole nine. So from a stereotypical standpoint, we did not provide any type of harmful presence from a clothing attire standpoint. We were in the Galleria area. We had just left Club Roxy. If any of you, if you're from Houston, you should know what the Roxy is. If you're not from Houston and you've traveled here, you've probably been to the Roxy. And if not, you're going to learn a little something tonight. Roxy was one of the, especially back in the 1990s throughout the early 2000s, one of the supreme nightclubs in Houston. And it wasn't just a hip-hop nightclub. On different nights, it could have been any genre of music. We were out there promoting on a hip-hop night. And it happened to be Wednesday night. So if anybody knows the history, again, Wednesday nights was the most jumping off night at the Roxy. We left the Roxy and were pulled over on Richmond. If anybody's familiar with where the TJ Maxx is located, I believe there was a Jason Deli. It's a large parking lot that's there before we got back to 59 to head 610 back to the north side where we were from. We were pulled over on a basic traffic stop in which we didn't run any lights. There's no stop signs there. There's all four-way lights out in that particular area of the Galleria. We did not run a stoplight, nothing. We did nothing wrong. We happened to be pulled over. Myself, Kurt, and another classmate of ours was in the vehicle. And the simple questions that Kurt asked as a driver when he got out is, what did I do wrong? Didn't provoke any type of harmful emotion where he was going to do anything to a police officer, anything like that. And immediately the tone of voice was not the tone of voice that would say, well, hey, you did blah, 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 we're going to give you a ticket. It was more the defensive tone of voice, like, you shouldn't be asking me about what you did. I pulled you over, be quiet, and I'm going to handle this from here. So Kurt, being the strong African-American male as he is, you know, obviously that wasn't going to be something that he was going to flow within. And then myself and our other classmate, we were also asking questions. So basically within the next 5 minutes, myself and my classmate, we were in handcuffs. And we were handcuffed outside of the vehicle while Curtis was not in handcuffs as a driver. And he continued to ask questions. And the next thing we know, he was slammed on the hood of the police car. And billy clubs came out. And at that point, he was proceeded to take a beating from police officers, that both police officers were white males. While we were in handcuffs, we had to watch this. And not only did we watch this outside of the vehicle, but we were also put inside of the vehicle and watched while he was beat this entire time. So I know his phone is cut off at this point. I was kind of glad that he tuned in. I wanted to give him the rest of the story, and there's more perspective to this. But for us to have to go through and actually see a friend of ours that actually is a guest on our show tonight to go through police brutality, and this was something that took place in the early 2000s. We're talking about almost 20 years ago. And it's sad to say we're here 20 years later and the same shit is going on.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, even the same people can say the same thing from the 60s, right? It's sad to say the same thing still going on 50 years later. And that's, I think everybody on this podcast has had some kind of experience similar to, not similar, but in the effect of the police brutality not being just for anybody, which is a part that takes us all back. But I think the flip side of that, TJ, the caveat is people who are not African-American or male African-Americans can't understand that
they can't.
This deed that we have going forward daily. It's even coming down, like, say, after the George Floyd thing happened, it seemed like everybody in corporate America wants to have these conversations about Black interactions with the world. Yes, buddy. You're supposed to be asleep. So, but everybody in the world wants to have these conversations, and they ask some questions. Like I've had people with my company ask me questions about, you know, how are you feeling after George Floyd and this and that. Like, I mean, it's two sides of it. So I feel like, okay, this is normal to me because it's been happening so much. Now you all just seeing it firsthand visually on what happens. I said, but let me explain to you how I feel on a daily basis going forward and trying to be a dad, a person at work, a good friend, somebody who's contributing to the community, but doing all that while you're Black, which is the hard part because it holds you back in so many avenues to where it's, a lot of times it may not hold you back, but you think it's holding you back and you don't try and you don't go forward and try to do different things. And it's just that story that TJ just told has been told or has happened so many times to where we have this stigma in our mind to where we can't be great. Because we are thinking that we'll be held down in some type of manner. Or we have that in the back of our mind thinking something may happen sooner or later because we are Black and we just don't know. So it's just that the whole facade of just being black in America, a black male in America, trying to make it and making sure you do the right things all the time, and you can't mess up. As Phil said before, like in giving advice to kids. No, that was Curtis giving advice to kids. Just don't mess up, because feel like we only get one strike, and that's it.
Yeah.
And that's for life. That's not even just when you're a teenager or you're young. That's when you're 40 years old, making sure nothing happens.
But I went through, I think the challenge that I went through, man, is when everything was going on with George Floyd, which that really hit home, and everything that's happened since then, it got me into a state of mind that I know it's not the right state of mind to be in, but, you know, when I look at Buddy, B-Dub, Rev, Kurt, man, I try to surround myself with nothing but strong, really good African-American males. And it really hurt me because, like, it's like nobody really cares about us. So I got into that frame of mind of where it's like African-American males versus everybody. I'm going to be honest, man, and excuse my French, but I didn't give a fuck about nobody but us. I feel more comfortable around my fellas. At the end of the day, man, I know nothing but good dudes. Whatever y'all stereotype of that bullshit y'all saying about us, that ain't right. Like, I get so tired of us being put in a negative place. All you want to say is we in the penitentiary, we doing this, we, you know, what we're not doing, this and that, man. I don't see that around the people I surround myself with, you know? And so I got into a place that was a bad place, and I had this conversation with B-Dub before, was like, really, I was like, man, fuck y'all. I don't give a fuck if you was a white male, white female, African-American female, Hispanic, whatever. I didn't give a fuck. If you wasn't an African-American male, we at war, you know? And that's just the way I felt. Y'all been at war with us for years. So for us to go to war with y'all, we done held our tongue. Like, if we really wanted to go to war with y'all, we would fuck all y'all up real bad. Honestly. And we done held our tongue, and we've been good Samaritans for a long time.
Well, see, and I always,
Man, you know,
go ahead, Bruce. Go ahead, Bruce.
I was glad that Fifey brought up that point, man, and emphasis on African American men and the narrative that he steered towards, because, you know, a lot of people really think that this plight is about BLM, Breonna Taylor, and, you know, what's the other female name that was playing video games with her nephew? The cops, they shot her while she was in her house too as well. And it is about them, but at the same time, man, they have been on us for who knows how long. Who knows how long, you know, and we catch hell from our own women, you know. I love our women, but we catch hell from our own women because they still don't understand, because they don't see what we see day in and day out. And it's unfortunate. You try to bring them into your realm or into your world or into your circle or into your, you know, cocoon or whatever, to try and get them to open their eyes and see it from your perspective. But it's really hard as hell. It's really hard as hell, man. You know, but again, man, I want you all to know going forward, man, I'm looking to you all. I'm leaning on you all, and you all can lean on me as well. And you already know, as far as us being out together as a group, hell, we don't even have to be out together as a group, in my personal opinion. I'm not going for the narrative that we've been seeing for the past 5, 7, 6, whatever months it has been going on, but the years building up to that. I'm sorry, man. I won't.
Well, and then too, I think like this too. Last month I had to go get the tags for James' car, and you know how you have to make an appointment now because of the pandemic, and the car is in my name, so I go get the tags down here on Will Clay right then and now, slap the tag on the car. I pull out coming down Will Clay. Whoop, one stop me. Well, I immediately, because I tell him when I go back to saying we have to teach our kids, I tell him, leave your insurance and your paperwork on that sun visor. If they ask for it, James, just say, Mr. Officer, if you feel comfortable, it's right there. You can get it. Keep your hands right here. Now, that's a bunch of hokey pokey that we got to keep our hands right here, but it is what it is. Right. So when this law stopped me, well, I'm a little older now. I get the paperwork when they come to the car, it's in my hand. And they, well, let me see your driver's license and registrations. Well, with me being a little older, and people in general know who they are messing with at some point. And he knew I wasn't some young teenager, just some young kid or whatever. I said, sure, Mr. Officer, you can see it. I said, but would you tell me what the problem is? And he said, your registrations. And I said, no, it's not. I just went and got it. Well, it hadn't been populated put in the system yet, and he ran my license or whatever. Well, my point is this right here. Now, me, I wasn't worried about it. Like you, Bub, TJ, Bruce, you don't have to worry about that as much because see, they know who to do that with and who not to do that with. But you get a young person such as my son, and that bothered me because I said to myself, now had this would have been James or my other son, Keandre, even if they would have had the stuff in their hand and said, Mr. Officer, would you tell me what I've done? It probably still would have went a whole nother way with that. So like I say, what we have to do is we have to make sure our children, and it used to be because I know one of us said about the black male, but as we see, it's black females too. It don't have a gender on it anymore. It's black females too. They get shot down. Breonna Taylor, what was the girl name going up there to Prairie View and got, all of a sudden killed in the jailhouse and stuff. So it don't have to be just the black man. Yeah, man. So and that's what we have to do a better job at, making sure our children, we as black men and black females too, older or whatever, like my wife, Joy, whoever your wife, whatever, they got to start getting these girls, these females, and teaching them how to be, and that's what we have to do more of. I think we have, but I tell you this, our parents, and our grandparents, they peaceful march. They got ate up by dogs, shot by water hose. We come along and we were a little bit more vocal, a little bit more rambunctious. But I still say now America got the right group of people because these young folks now, they will burn this country down. They don't care. See, these young people, they don't have no rules to the game and they stand on their rights. And so now we're going to see more cities. We're going to see more stuff. We're going to see more riots and everything because now in America with these young people, they're a whole different beast. And I know I'm right about that. They're not going to take that right there. And as I heard somebody say, and it's bad to say, said, but let them tie it up. If that's what it's going to take, let them tie it all up. Just let them tie it up. You know what I mean? Somebody gonna get hurt around here.
Yeah, Rev. I agree with that point. I'm so proud of our young people coming together, putting the racial stereotypes behind them, and fighting for what's right. And it's good to see that. And man, it's what we need right now.
We got to have that. We got to have that. And more so is, like I said, we can't be responsible for them. We have to train and teach our kids what to do in uncompromising situations. You shut up. You do what they ask you to do within the law or whatever, and live to tell another day. Because what we have to tell them, yeah, they gonna pass some stuff up, man, when they kill you. We gonna get a little settlement money when they kill you, but you gonna still be dead around.
Exactly.
You can't come back from it. As my grandmother would say, you can't unring a bell. See, once a bell rung, it can't be unrung. You can't unring a bell. You know, so that's what we have to do. We have to start to me, and this is to me. And I'm not gonna get into that because just like you, Bud, everybody kind of in the sales for a living, so you got to be careful of what you say. But the bottom line is, it was a time every kid need to go watch. Every person need to go watch the Tulsa, Oklahoma burning. But I can't think of the name of it. And we got to, like our parents, they had their own communities and stuff. And we got to get
the
back.
Black Wall Street.
Black Wall Street. See, when you start hitting those other folks in their pockets, that's when stuff started really changing. And we got to start supporting. Now we got to do right. I can't do business with you if you don't do right. Now we got to do right. We can't do what I call Negro business. And I said that on the air, y'all, Negro business. We can't do it like that. We got to be right. You see, right. We can't just be, you can't be a little right, because a little right is still wrong. You got to be all the way right. You know, and we got to start back supporting. We got to start back pouring in our community. We got to start back training and teaching our kids. Like I made the point the other week, our boys don't know how to do simple manly stuff, nor do our girls know how to do it. We got to take back to what we got to see. What happens is, and I'm gonna get off of my soapbox. What happened is, see, long time ago with our parents and grandparents, they didn't have a lot, but what they had, they learned to be resourceful with. But God has given us a lot. He's given us education. He's letting us live in the suburbs. We drive what we want to drive. We eat what we want to eat. And sometimes we done forgot. We done forgot. It's just like I told James. I said, James, would you consider going to a black university? Would you consider transfer? Well, his reply was, no, Daddy, I want to be diversified. I said, well, son, that's a good thing. I said, but you are diversified. I said, one of your best friends is a kid I love to death. Like he called me Uncle Phil, white kid, but love him to death. You know, I said, even with some of your choices in females, son, they don't always be black. I said, the community we live in, it's a diversified community, but guess what we don't know? Our own. And we'll throw that diversified out there, but we are diversified, but we don't know our own. We got to start back going to our black universities and all that. So that's my soapbox, and I'm probably going to get in trouble by somebody on social media.
No, that's all right, Rev, because I want to add to that, man, and before we transition to our next topic, but I think what has happened, and when I think about our fathers, grandfathers, there were maybe mistakes that they made that got held against them so far to where it muted the codes that they taught to us and that they live by, that are codes that are not being lived by today. There were codes that the community was built on from a foundation standpoint that you just didn't cross, that are being crossed every day today, which is why we don't have the strength that we used to. Those voices was muted because of mistakes that they made, you know, but the mistakes that they made had nothing to do with the positive messages they was giving on the community. I'll give you, you know, my point is what I see a lot of times today, and this is a topic that people don't want to discuss, but the individuals that didn't grow up with a father figure or a grandfather figure or somebody strong within the household have holes within their repertoire. And there are so many holes in a large percentage of the repertoire that don't stick to the codes that came down from the strong African-American men that were fathers and grandfathers and great-grandfathers. See, you know, us on this call was fortunate enough to have those strong people. So when we do something like a Father's Day special, or, you know, Curtis wasn't even a part of our Father's Day special, but we know his dad, he knows our fathers and things like that, but he know what they stand for, you know, and you know, but I'm going to say this, it's like, we know what Mr. Love stands on, right?
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah,
and so
I'm Robert. Hey man, I'm Robert OG around here.
right. But see, the problem is Rev is, and this is maybe partly our fault, is the OG didn't transfer to our generation.
Well,
I think it transferred to our generation. I don't think it transferred to our kids in them. See, it's still some basic stuff that you, TJ, you, Bruce, you, Bud, know how to do. But now, and I can say this because I have kids older than you all. Then some of those basic things, our kids don't know how, because our parents, whether it was my parents, and both of my parents are deceased, but whether it was my parents, I grew up with Aunt Lynn and Uncle Robert and them. They taught us basic stuff, like I say. But we now, God gave us 50 cents more than we really deserve, and we done forgot where we once come from, and we don't translate those basic skills down our kids. See, it didn't stop with us. It done stopped now. At least that's what I feel.
And going on what you were saying, Phil, about getting back to our basics, I think, because I thought about this, and I'll tell you this story. So I was at my cousin Sheila's house, and she has a beautiful backyard, beautiful home, but her backyard grass is not really growing because her trees are too big, and they, you know, you need to trim them, right? So I'm trimming the trees, and she said, "Boy, you acting just like your dad." Now, two things I thought about: the phrase that more is caught than taught, because I don't remember my dad showing me how to trim a tree, first of all. But I know he does it, you know, and I probably seen him do it, but I remember him saying, "Hey, Mike, this is how you trim the tree," but I know it needs to be done. The second thing is, when she say you just like your dad, I was out there by myself, my headphones on, but I was just thinking, like, man, if I'm just like my dad, do I want my sons to be just like me going forward? And that plays on different levels of emotions. I got to make sure I'm doing the right thing in front of them to make sure they do the right things to where they're emulating what I'm doing right. But then too, I have to teach them how to do the right things, such as like trim a tree, or like I learned that from my father. I've learned how to do yard things with my dad. So in Phil speaking about going back to the basics, to where we've gotten away from the basics because we've got more privileged in financially, being a student, social classes, to where now we don't even cut our own grass.
Yeah, it's true.
You know, or be able to work on our cars, even wash our cars, because we may go to a car wash instead. But I don't remember my dad said, "Come out here and learn how to wash his car." Like, he was washing the car, and then it wasn't an option to go to a car wash. So if I want to have my car clean, I had to wash it myself. And then that's when I started washing it myself. Then my dad showed me, "Hey, look, this is what you use on your wheels, this and that." You know, like it was small little things to teach. But we've got away from that because we've outsourced our knowledge to someone else, and we pay for that. And so I think, in getting back to the basics, such as teaching those young men and women how to do those things are gone because we're financially, we don't have to do that anymore. Like, I think it's a gift and a curse at the same time. We have the money to do stuff, but then we're losing ourselves and our roots, or our own personality, not personality, but our own how we define ourselves in our work ethic and going forward and being able to make sure we stand on our own. Because you're saying we have to do stuff right. I think the whole art is being lost, or people don't know how to do those things right in like that Black Wall Street thing, because we don't have the opportunity. We haven't gotten the knowledge to do it because it wasn't passed down to us.
It was
like,
not that.
Even my parents doing stuff, like they told me, you know, how to do something when they couldn't afford it, we had to do it. But after a while, I was like, you know what? I just go ahead and pay for somebody to do that and get it over with.
Right.
You know, like my dad. Matter of fact, I told him I'm gonna buy him. I'm gonna buy him some garage doors for his birthday. But I told him I want to pay for them, but I want to pay for somebody to install it. Now I know damn well he can put them in. You know, he can build
anything. Uncle Robert, my only uncle that can do anything. Uncle Robert, not y'all, bud, but Uncle Robert is the only uncle I know. I remember rest my dad and so my dad said it was a long time ago before he died. It was something going on. He said, man, call Love. He said, because you know Love know every damn thing it is to know. Uncle Robert, hey man, Uncle Robert fixed my air compressor over the telephone the other day. Over the telephone. You hear me? He said, well, see, nephew, I'm going to tell you something, man. You ain't got no Teflon tape on that. That's all you got to do, put some Teflon tape. Did it? It ain't leak. What? Hey, man. But we learned from that. Uncle Robert, he was the oldest Boy Scout. We don't have the Boy Scouts the way we used to have no more. And all that stuff that brought Negro over. Now, all that brought us over around here. And God's grace. We don't go to church the way we used to go to church.
Well, fellas, I want to say,
you saying something?
I want to say one thing. Everybody subscribe to It Is What It Is podcast, all caps, spaces in between. You know,
you can take on the bottom. You can see it on the bottom going across.
Just want to let y'all know. But look, fellas, man, I think outstanding takes on that topic. I want to transition to the next topic as I'm looking at our time here and everything. I'm
finna go to bed on y'all. I gotta be in a workshop at 7 in the morning.
We gonna end this thing here shortly so you can get your 8 hours of rest that you need for your beauty sleep. But look, COVID-19, y'all. Let's transition to that. We talked about police brutality. We talked about how we can resolve and fix it. Things are starting to open up. Schools are opening up. Jobs are opening up. I think the mayor of Texas, Greg Abbott, maybe a couple weeks ago, put us back at 75% of capacity.
Mayor of Texas.
What are y'all thoughts on that, buddy? I'm gonna start with you. Tell me, what are your thoughts about Texas and the rest of the country reopening as far as COVID-19 is concerned?
Man, I'm on both sides of the fence. So first of all, let me talk about it personally to how COVID is affecting me now. It's not allowing me to live in the now. And me saying that I'm it's kind of like things that are going on. I can't enjoy it as much because of what the parameters we have to wear a mask, all that stuff to wear. But I'm thinking forward, trying to figure out when this is going to change or go to whatever it's going to go to, if it ever changes. Right. Now, in knowing that it's now going back to the point of you asked about the things opening up, half of me, or not even half of me, a quarter of me says, things are opening up, so it's kind of okay. Let's move around a little bit more. But the other 75% is thinking about that 1 or 2% chance of me catching COVID, right? And thinking of me catching COVID to where you all know I have MS, to where those patients, people they say have the low immune system. I'm that person. So I have to be extra precautious on going out or doing anything because that's something I don't want to battle. Like people catch COVID and they get over it, but I won't get over it as easy as everybody else. Yeah. And it could possibly be a death sentence for me or anybody, but more likely for somebody such as myself. So that pushes me back into the home, which of course triggers to on the family side to I have a 6-year-old whose first grade he started in at home virtually, which is unfair. And then I have this 3-year-old who's at home also, but he's not learning from other people in his environment because when he came out of daycare, he was pretty much potty trained and doing different things, but now he kind of reverted back to it because he's not by himself, but he's not one of the other kids being potty trained at the same time. So it's just a faction to where it's open, but it's not open. Like, but I don't know what point it has to get to where I feel like I'm comfortable in going out and being open. Because you can tell me the mayor of Texas, as TJ said, would say going forward, like, okay, you all are free to go, but hell, you left it open too long to where we have so many thousands of deaths in Harris County alone.
Right.
So how can I trust you and tell me, okay, y'all, we okay now, let's go.
Yeah.
Right.
I
what's your take on this?
So I'm on skates.
I understand Feifel on that, full blown, man, because it's like it's one of those damned if you do, damned if you don't situations, because you don't necessarily always want to be cooped up in the house, and you need some form of a release. I don't care if you don't take a long walk, but at the same time, you got to be extremely cautious because of COVID-19. And I know with me, I just discussed with my ex the other day about, sending my child back into the public school, and I told her I am not, up for that. I get it. It helps, out at the house for you all to be able to do whatever it is that you all have to do during the day. But I don't care, man. I don't want to put my child on the line of fire like that. And then lo and behold, she reaches out to another, friend of ours that we all know, who's the assistant principal at the school where my child attends school at. They had a COVID case. So that right there, solidified my feelings and my thoughts on that. And I'm like, no, man, I don't want my child going back to school, and getting in a situation like that and possibly, spread that, to whomever. But I mean, it has affected a lot of things financially, man, because of course you all know normally I would be out in the oil field, but a lot of things have come to a screeching halt because of COVID, man. And it has hindered some things. So as much as I'd like to be out doing what I need to do as far as, taking care of myself and my child and my household, at the same time, I know we all still have to be precautious. So damn if you do, damn if you don't. Right,
but it's more like damn if you do, and okay, well you be all right if you don't.
Yeah.
Like because main reason why we're not sending the kids back to school or daycare because what they can possibly get infected and bring it back.
Exactly.
It's about them, but it's really not about them either. It's about them. And then too, like I have older parents, so then I won't be able to see them anymore, really, because I don't know what the children are bringing back or anybody. Like it's a big domino effect going forward. And thinking about it, if everybody do what they're supposed to do, instead of being so damn free and say, this is a free country, do what I want to.
Yeah.
If we lock down and do what we're supposed to do for a little while, it'll be done. Going back to what I said before, learning from other countries and seeing how they're doing stuff and not being so arrogant and not learning and making it happen.
To be honest, I'm gonna be honest, I wish they go back to like it was when they first locked everything down. To get some form of control on this, man. To be honest with you, I really do. Because I didn't even realize how many people in the Hispanic community have fallen fatality to COVID.
Oh yeah, the valley is a lot of COVID.
Yeah, it's a lot. They say it's like 55% of them in the state of Texas. That's the cases that they came up with. I'm like, man, are you for real?
Yeah, it's on fire down in the valley.
Rev, give us your take on everything reopening as far as COVID-19 is concerned.
Well, I think that, of course, you have to have some rules and regulations to it. Now, and I guess I'm on the fence because as far as quarantining and locking down, well, I don't do nothing no way, so this don't really bother me too much. Anyway, you know what I mean? Hey, man, look here. I ain't got to put on all the church clothes and stuff. Man, this stuff. One thing that everybody can testify of, you can see $5 more of your money than you could see before the COVID, and see, now me, I see the other people call it COVID, but again, we Negroes, so I call it Corona. That's what Negroes, we call it Corona. COVID. Now it's Corona. Negroes. We call
coronavirus.
you know, yeah, coronavirus. But what I think too is this right here. I think everybody on this panel or not, everybody on this panel, we believe in God. We believe in the Holy Spirit. And see what you got to see from a spiritual aspect of things that's going on. Well, sometimes God got to do certain stuff to put your trust and faith back in Him. Because we keep saying when it's over. Well, it just may not be over. Now these kids going back to school, as my wife would say, you know, she say these kids need to be at home right now. And one reason, like she say, see the only people who got a problem with the kids being home are the folks who don't raise their kids.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
True story. True story, real.
Yeah, she said, and she said, now if we had school age kids, like she said, they be at home, but we raise our kids and stuff, so that don't bother us right there with them being at home. You know, so again, on one hand, yes, it's bad, but on the other hand, God got a way of doing stuff. He got a way of bringing our families back together again. He got a way of making you be responsible for your kids again. You know, the Bible talk about the church was going to be closed and people would want to run to the church in the book of Revelations. Well, see, now we took church for granted. And now Negroes ready to go back to church again and stuff. So it's a pro on one and a con on that. Man, y'all want to get to Rev started.
Rev, we appreciate you. Before we move forward, next little topic, I want to give a shout out to Josh McGrew. Thank you for chiming in, man. Appreciate you, being with us tonight. Also, Leo Woods, I saw you out there comment. Appreciate you. Also, Robert Love, appreciate you being with us tonight. Shout out to all of y'all. Appreciate y'all, man. Thank y'all so much. Next topic, and I'm gonna throw this one to Buddy Love here, is 2020, man. It's been a lot of obstacles, a lot of things going on this year. From a spiritual standpoint, how has 2020 impacted you?
Spiritually, it made me more solid and reverent. Because what's going on, COVID or 2020 period, is something that I know nobody can control. Everybody's saying we're waiting on this vaccine, but the vaccine won't happen until the Lord lets it happen, or if He lets it happen. So it goes back to the point of just making sure you just know that you're not in control. And and me knowing I'm not in control, I feel more in control because I know I'm not in control. I know who is in control. So where I feel even more protected because I know who is in control. And I know who I am dependent on for my safety and also for my process in my life, for my family also. And Phil mentioned that a minute ago about not going to church and not getting on the church clothes and all that stuff, to where it kind of brings it back down to the basics of life, right? The family, the people you can depend on, what you can depend on, or what you really, really need. There's a lot of stuff that we don't need because we can't get now because we really don't need it. Like even going to the grocery store, it's like going to a war zone. I got my mask, I got on my sunglasses, mask. Don't talk to me. I'm getting in and getting out. But me getting in and getting out, I'm not trying to get all this extra stuff that I don't need grocery wise. So it's spiritually, it's been more of a rounding process to where I'm able to meditate on things on my own and get deeper into the word to know exactly what God is talking to me about in this time. And it's bringing me back to my family and enjoying my family and trying to just enjoy what's in these four walls that we have around here and just making sure I'm making things better for them going forward. Whenever this does happen, come out, or if it doesn't, we're still going to push forward in this and enjoy each other. It's not easy, but it's something that I have to, have to, when things get hard, to sit back and just reevaluate. Hey, look, you know what? This is the time you're in. Enjoy this moment. Like we sat on the patio this evening. That was like I was pushing the boys on the swing. I was like, man, this is free fun that they're having a good time. I should enjoy their smile on their face and try to figure out where I'm going to go on vacation or what to buy next. I need these shoes. Now, shoes for what? You ain't going nowhere.
Mm-hmm.
And you said a point a long time ago, TJ, even just like we were going somewhere and I said, man, I gotta go give me something to wear. He's like, for what? I'm gonna wear the same shirt, and if my friends worry about what I got on, they're not my friends. I said, look, you know what? You're right. I'm gonna go sit down because that's the whole point. Like I can wear the same thing over and over again every day. It doesn't matter because I'm not going anywhere, but it's making me more satisfied in my life. Because
that's right.
Yeah, exactly. I'm content, and the Lord has content process to where I can focus on what's important in what should be important in my life.
So, B-Dub, what 2020? How has it impacted you spiritually? Same question.
I'll say, man, I've had my emotions stirred up because I know who's in control. I know who's my redeemer. I know who's my bright morning star, my lily of the valley. I know who it is. And it has made me have to solely depend upon him and him only. And that's okay with me. That's more than okay with me. I don't always have insight on what God is going to do or how he's going to do it. And I never will, because again, his thoughts are not like man's thoughts. He don't move like man moves. So that right there is been humbling. But at the same time, I've been in awe too.
I'm gonna add to that, y'all. I'm so glad for me, from a spiritual standpoint, that we came together to do this project in 2020.
Yeah.
Because what this has done is allowed us to spend more time together than we may have done before.
Yeah.
From the standpoint of, the great thing about us is I could go without talking to Buddy for a year. We've never separated that long. But
that would happen, but yeah, I get it.
I'm just saying, a year I could go without talking to B-Dub for a year. We're gonna pick up where we left off.
Yeah.
But doing this show and trying to do it the right way has forced us to communicate more.
Yeah.
And so what it does is, this is my foundation as far as anything that I've ever been able to achieve in my life is because of the foundation that I come from.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And I realized that. And so in 2020, to be able to communicate with that foundation, anything that you throw in my way that's a hurdle, I'm going to jump that hurdle because I got my foundation with me.
Yeah.
So 2020 ain't done nothing to slow me down from what I need to personally achieve. So from a spiritual standpoint, what it's done and what God has touched me with is, go back to your foundation. Mm-hmm. Reach out to the people that made you who you are.
Yeah.
Because without them, I put them in your life to be vehicles for you to be able to do what you got to do. So go back to those vehicles to continue to do what you got to do. Don't forget about those vehicles. And so everybody that I may not have spent more time with prior to 2020, I made an initiative to spend time with them during 2020 because they are who made me what I am.
Yeah.
And that's what has changed me as far as what I'm doing in 2020 from a spiritual standpoint.
And I was thinking, as you said the foundation, TJ, the people who I know who are falling apart right now had a very, very rocky foundation.
Right.
Sandy foundation. And they don't know what to do.
I can even go further than that. Right there. You look at me and Bruce kind of knew him, but you look at me right now, TJ. I don't have parents. Both of my parents are dead. My mother died in March or whatever. Never thought it couldn't have paid me to think I was going to be this age and parentless. But it's okay because of the foundation that they left. And the foundation that left was trusting God. And when you trust in him, you see what I'm saying? They didn't say trust in your job, your education, your money, and then you can't even trust in them, because God will show you he can pick them up and pluck them. But trust in him. So you know, when you talk coronavirus, you talk about no parents and you're young around here. In 2020, everybody, not one, everybody got at least 5 horror stories about 2020. And God, he's still showing us that he's sitting on the throne. He's still showing us that if he can take all this stuff away from us and make us depend on him. That's all.
Sit down and be still.
Sit down and be still. Trust in him. You know, and then even when you look at what we're going through with racial wars now, it seems to be going on, God is still saying trust in him, because as my pastor taught us a few months ago, he said God gonna take us from the revolution to the revival. So you got to trust in him. We're going to go from the revolution to the revival. That's all, man. Y'all, that's all.
Man, appreciate that take, man. Appreciate it, buddy. Appreciate it, B-Dub.
No problem, man.
And I appreciate it. I'm going to talk about you Negroes in the morning when I'm sitting up in there. White folk in that seminar sleep tomorrow. You know what I mean?
You gonna do it like this here? You gonna do it like this?
You can't be sleeping, man. So I got. Hey, look, I'm looking at this TV. These people that got a challenge out here. These Denver Broncos got 27. These New York Jets got 25. We got about 6 minutes left in the fourth quarter. They on countdown. And they on fumes just like we on fumes right now. But look, appreciate everybody tuning in tonight. Look, one thing I got to tell you, we can't get away from this. We done did this many times. Subscribe to our YouTube page.
Right.
It is what it is podcast, all caps, appropriate spaces. If you didn't go to language arts in middle school, or if you didn't go to English in high school, or if you didn't have some advanced English course in college, it is what it is, and all caps is capitalization on every single letter. Exactly. And what we mean by spaces in between the words is a space between it is, space between is and what, is a space between what and it, it's a space between it and is, and it's not a space between the exclamation mark. Exactly. But look, that's the podcast. That's where you go. That's where you chime in, because don't be calling me and being real. I'm not going to say the word, but don't call me and say, man, where can I find you? I can't see you, man. I'm telling you, go to YouTube. If you subscribe, all you got to do is hit youtube.com and we're going to pop up live. It don't matter what we're doing. We could be doing how to cook hog maws and chitlins, and it's going to pop up.
Let them know it's a prepositional phrase that they have to go and type in.
Yes, like B-Dub said, it is what it is. Exactly. Podcast and all caps, man. Look, if y'all can't do that, I'm worried about your vote in the next coming election. I'm worried about your vote, man, because look, I watched it. I wasn't gonna chime on this that much, but we had a debate last night. For those of you, I'm gonna say, look at it like this. There was 2 people debate last night. Okay, there was 2 men, one in this corner, one in that corner. Okay, the one in this corner, he came out swinging, but he didn't hit very much. The one in this corner, he swung back for the early rounds, but he decided, you know what? In the words of this 90-year-old lady that I talked to last night, she said, I'm going to stand back and I'm going to let a clown perform. Mm-hmm. So he allowed a clown to perform for the rest of the debate. Now, this particular clown If your strategy is you're gonna continue to vote for this clown, then you're a clown yourself.
Yeah.
You're what we call a circus clown.
Yeah. Y'all wear the same size shoes too. Big ass
Exactly.
dump.
Same paint on your face, and in the words of B-Dub, the same size shoes.
Big ass dump.
So my point is, if you can't read It Is What It Is podcast in all caps, please reach out to Buddy Love. Please reach out to B-Dub. Please reach out to the Rev so we can help you with your vote. We can't stand in the booth with you.
So we can go.
We can definitely tell you what to do. If we got to do a Hooked on Phonics vote based on the Is What It Is podcast, that's what we're going to do tonight. But we need your vote. I don't care where it come from. We need your vote. Please vote.
And vote twice, as they saying now.
Yes, please. Register. They give you a little card. It's a voter registration to show your proof. When you show up to the booth, you know, you go online. If you need us to Google for you, it shows you the closest voting precinct to you. And look, wait in line. Hey, man, the same way you wait in line for them Jordans, the same way you wait in line at the turkey leg hut,
Same way
you wait in line for whatever it is, you got to wait in line for this.
Same way you used to line up in that line and pop it on Richmond. Shit. Same way.
We waited for that chicken sandwich when the line was too long, you came back.
Exactly.
Yeah. And if your ass waited in line for this podcast tonight, you can wait in line to vote.
Nah, it was a little wide open. So, I think that's way too long.
Tell them what time it is, TJ.
Man, it's time to get up out of here, Real. It's checkout time, baby. It's time to get out of here, Real. I'll let y'all, man. Appreciate y'all tuning in. It Is What It Is podcast. Buddy Love, B-Dub, and the rest. Special shout out to Curtis Henderson. Appreciate y'all. Till next time.
Let's get up out of here.
Get that Sammy Sosa.
Turn it up, Real.
They tell y'all when y'all used to go to the motel, check out time.
All right, y'all be good.
All right, fellas. Holla.